Man, this song gets me excited.
Good song.
It is. Good morning, Rosee. Turn this music down. Good morning.
Hello.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever. All I know is that my sinuses are cooperating this morning, so kinda.
Good.
I'm starting to get a little stuffy. It kind of sucks because as the day goes on, it seems like my sinuses get worse, and then when evening comes around, um, it's like poof. Just any kind of light just gives you. I already have a throbbing headache all day from being out amongst the pollen and out in the bright light, and then the throbbing headache every day. Come home, get a little rest, all stuffy, sleeping with the Vicks vapor machine going every night. It's like it's like 3 or 4 weeks now. It seems like it's been a
Yeah.
while. I don't know. It's been a
Yeah.
while, but they are cooperating right now. Might get a little stuffy as the day goes on, but the good thing is I haven't been outside since yesterday afternoon. So
That's good.
that's a bonus for today because I haven't stepped one foot outside and breathed in that pollen. So a little bit sneaking in through the window cracks, but we're good so far.
Uh-oh.
I'm excited for today.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you guys to see the work that Rosee did. Not only she went through the whole book, she took awesome notes, and then she put together, I didn't even expect this. This is how hard Rosee works. She put together a freaking PowerPoint slideshow.
It's just a little one. It's just a little one.
Just a little one, 23 pages. Just a little one. 23 pages.
Okay, a
My
medium
gosh.
one.
Medium one.
PowerPoint. Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, I can't wait. All chapters, all 23 pages of notes. So again, we're going to be doing the Broken Plea breakdown. Rosee notes, not Cliff, because Cliff's old school news. And you'd rather get Rosee notes, all chapters. So I'm excited to do this. I've been waiting for this all week since we talked about it. And also, we might do what we're calling a StreamYard live call. So you won't have to worry about being on camera. Your audio will go through just like a live call, but you'll be in StreamYard. And then we'll only have one up per conversation. That way, we're calling it a StreamYard live call. So here, let me tease the screen for a second here before we get into it. Here we go. StreamYard live call discussing our latest thoughts, theories, and opinions. So just like a phone call, your voice will show up. But it's something new that we're going to try and see how it works. And we're thinking about maybe doing it at the end of the show, seeing what you guys think of the breakdown and what you guys, if there was something you didn't know or something that you wanted to discuss. We'll see what's up. We're thinking about maybe even doing like a StreamYard live call show tomorrow where it's just live calls on StreamYard, one per 15-minute limit, something like that. So check that out. But all right, so let's get to chat. Good morning, everybody. I haven't even taken a sip of my coffee yet.
That weren't. Coffee comes first.
It should, but when you're rushing in the morning, What's up, Stone? Good morning. Thank you for hopping in. Miriam, good morning. Hello. And Criminal Med, good morning to you. Do you think the book is good, CJ? Well, Rosee and I started to discuss after she got done. Rosie and I kind of started to discuss the book a little bit, and the conversation. I don't know. You let me know what you think, Rosie. I think the conversation is going to go a way that maybe most people won't expect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not what most people are saying about the book, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you watched the last show that I did a couple days ago, if you go to about the 1 hour 55-minute mark, I discuss kind of what I think and how there might not be a chain of custody issue after all. Okay, I kind of break it down. I was going to make a highlight video out of it, but I just didn't have the time. But I broke it down as to why there might not be a chain of custody, because we have to remember, number one, it's the first time we're hearing this stuff after all these years. Number two, these are statements and accounts from people that only got to see evidence pertaining to their part in a trial. That's the best way I can put it, okay? And I was saying that, and that's why I said in the last live, like, there might not be a chain of custody issue because of this and this and this and this. If this is all possible, well, then there's no chain of custody. It's just a chain of custody issue based off of what those people got to have access to. So when it comes to this book, I'm going to make a comparison that maybe most people might not even expect either. I said it to Rosie. I said it's just like this kind of book. And I'm not going to say it yet. I want to get... Well, it's up to you, Rosie. Do you want to discuss what we think about the book first, or what, or how should I say this? Do you want us to discuss what we each think about the book first, or do you want to wait until the very end to then, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would, it's up to you. Whatever.
No, let's talk about it at the end. Let's go through. I mean, yeah.
That. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I'm interested to hear what everyone else thinks about,
Oh yeah.
as we go along. Like, I think there'll be like a lot of mixed opinions about it, and it would be good to like refine our opinion at the end of a discussion. You know, like there might be stuff in the notes that I'm, missed. Like people might have their notes. Yeah.
And we're just two people out of however many people on this planet that have come across this book, right? So that's why I kind of, when I brought up to you about this StreamYard live call show, maybe tomorrow morning, maybe, about what other people think about the book, what they thought about what was in the book, their thoughts and theories and stuff. Because, it's just you and me. It'd be nice to kind of hear, or, what other people have to say about the book too. Especially since I wasn't able to do that live call a couple nights ago. My sinuses are just rocking me. But yeah, so we'll go ahead. And so I'm just going to... I can't really give a comment on the book, Criminal Med. I apologize. I will just say, how about this? It was, when the first day it came out, it was only number 270-something on the bestseller list.
I didn't know that.
Even though, right? Even though amongst the Idaho 4 community on YouTube and social media, it's been a huge... But on that first day, it was only like ranked 270 something. on that first day. So the whole world isn't clamoring for this book. And yeah, we'll just, yeah. Good morning. How are you doing, Amy? What's up, Collateral Damage? Good morning. What's up, John Blevins? Good morning to you. How are you doing? For me, wake and bake, happy, and then ready to go. Good morning. What you baking? Thank you. Oh, whatever. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like number 18. Thank you for your like. Let me, that gets us switched up. But I want to just chat about a couple things here real quick. By the way, there is that new tier. I did upload a couple videos since. The last one was C0051, and that was me driving around Moscow for a little bit during the daytime, and then going the route that the killer BK, if he was the one that did it, the route he would have taken if he was trying to avoid being caught on surveillance. I mean, it just, if you study digital forensics, right, wouldn't you know how to avoid that kind of stuff, right? So the route there, the route leaving never really made sense. And if that person was going to avoid surveillance as much, you can't 100%, but you can as much as possible. And if you staked out the property that many times, well, then you staked out where all the cameras were at on the routes that you would have taken there. So you would have known the best way. And I did that route. That's the new video that was uploaded today. Again, for the private eye tier, the new tier membership that we have, all boots on the ground footage from all my different cases, 5 terabytes over the last 4 years of doing that, boots on the ground. Tons of different cases. I'm just uploading Idaho 4 right now. Still got a bunch more. Driving downtown Moscow, grub truck area, more around the house before it was tore down. Then I'll be starting to upload some of the other cases, drone footage, HD, GoPro, all sorts of stuff. Finally uploading 5 terabytes. So that's the newest one that we uploaded today. Good morning, Blue Devil. How are you? Trying to decide if I want to get it. Well, how about this, Criminal Med? Because Rosee broke it down, slideshow and everything. You guys are going to have not only the voice, but the visual, okay? The voice and the visual. Just wait. Just wait. You know what I'm saying? Just wait. I wouldn't get it quite yet. All right, so I do want to mention, and let me go ahead and share this real quick. Just going to cover this for a second. The Goncalves family started a new foundation, and I'm going to play a video from that. This is KTVB. Kaylee Goncalves' parents launched a foundation to fund DNA forensic testing for underfunded murder cases, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I'm glad to see that, and here we'll zoom this in. Murder has a name. And, oh, I thought we turned on comments. I'm sorry. There we go. Murder has a name. And it says the Kaylee Goncalves Foundation doing business as Murder Has a Name. Official launch. A legacy of love. A mission for justice. And that is so beautiful. In honor of Kaylee, we are committing to helping families find answers, supporting forensic innovation, and ensuring no victim is ever forgotten. This is her legacy. This is our promise. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's so sad.
I'm just glad to see them turning it into this. You know what I'm saying? This is the proper way to grieve. not lashing out and you know, which, you know, at the same time, there's a lot of people that have hateful souls in this world, and the kind of hate on social media that can be directed towards people, you know, they go through stuff that they shouldn't have to go through, you know. So there's no excuse for stuff like that, and I've been a victim of their lashing already last year. Almost got my shit shut down. But, you know, there's no excuse for it, but at the same time, you can also understand, you know, why they lash out. Because that's a lot. That's a lot for, especially a parent.
Yeah.
It says that they're going to be supporting forensic innovation and ensuring no victim. So they're going to donate, and they're starting a foundation to help underfunded labs and work and studies and all of that. So, you know, whatever it goes to, it'll definitely help, because one penny helps no matter what. These are, you know, what if it was just one penny that this place needed, you know? Everybody chipped in a penny and bam, they can help this case, help a family find answers. That's what it's about. The sample. Hey, why? You know what I'm saying? Why weren't they tested? Seriously. Because that's the biggest crock. Ever since we heard, Rosee, that they couldn't test more than one source at a time. Like,
Yeah.
are we living in the 1800s? You know, are we? Is this a episode of Barney Fife and Andy Griffith? You know, like what's
Yeah.
DNA, Barney? What's DNA? Like, is that where we're at? Like, we could only test one source at a time.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why like I understand what people are saying, but I guess maybe it needs more foundations to assist in developing these methods. I don't really know a lot about it, but it does seem like it was like you'll see as we go through the book, there was so much testing that was actually like neglected, more than we actually realized. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's a good question. It's a good question. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know, and this is one thing I am going to say before we get into this, and I wanted to see what you think, and I purposely didn't bring it up on the phone call.
Okay.
Because this is something that's been bothering me ever since I did my show a couple days ago and watched the interview with the lawn crime. And I went through Ann Taylor's post to the news outlets and the media. Are these people, because he also said in that interview, I'm the lightning rod. There's way more coming. Now we know Cy Ray's coming out with a book. We got Turvey talking on a podcast coming up in a day or two, whenever it is. And ever since that interview, and now all of this has started. You know, Turvey yesterday confirmed he was going on a show to talk. You know, Cy Ray, now all of a sudden his book's being announced, and that was a couple days ago. That was after the interview for Law and Crime, and I'm sitting here going, are these people? Because I'm looking at Ann Taylor's letter, and I really feel Turvey broke his confidentiality agreement 100%. broke his confidentiality agreement. Ann Taylor had every right to say what she said, and I feel bad for the defense because Rosee, I feel like this stuff is putting out the defense's playbook if they ever did get a new trial, Rosee. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think at the end of the day that's pretty much what's important, because I mean in Ann Taylor's letter she said that he was speaking beyond his scope. And I think that comes into the fact where, you know, he can comment on these forensic things, he's the expert there, but as soon as he starts saying that things are inadmissible, he's venturing into legal stuff, and that's not what he was ever supposed to do. So I understand why she was saying that he was going beyond his scope and what he was actually expected to comment on. And when it comes to like the possibility of another trial, there's been this interference. Like I agree with that. And
I feel like it's worse that I feel like this is going to be like if the datelines say okay, if you thought the dateline stuff was huge, think of the stuff that's going to be that came out from Whitcomb, that's going to be talked about from Turvey, that's coming out from Cy Ray, that's going to be coming out from all these other books. You know what I'm saying? There's going to, I bet you there, from what Christopher Whitcomb's, you man, there's going to be, as far as I'm thinking, 5, 6, 7, 8 books coming out from different people regurgitating different things, and Dateline is going to seem like a firecracker compared to all this other stuff because it's going to be like a nuclear kaboom when it comes to this this information getting out. You know what I'm saying? If people really cared about the defense, because honestly, after I heard that interview and now you're seeing all this stuff, if people truly cared about Brian Kohberger getting a real chance if there ever is a trial again, don't, how do I say this kindly? Don't support their work. Because if you support their work and you regurgitate, it's, how can I say that, Rose? Like, I don't, like, it's like, it's not going to happen. Like, I feel like the defense's playbook was screenshotted and copied and not supposed to be talked about, and now it's their playbook is going to be going out to the public, and that is not good for the defense, especially if they want to have a real chance at another trial, if that's what they're hoping for.
So I think that, like, I agree with you, and I think like the main thing about this is, firstly, like when the leak came from the other side, you know, it was all of that Dateline stuff. We had to always acknowledge that it goes both ways. It can't be like the end of the world that Dateline did it, but it's fine that the defense is leaking stuff, even if there was a plea already, because these agreements are, these confidentiality agreements are there obviously for a reason. So I don't think that the behavior of lashing out at Ann Taylor and doing it this way is any way to help Brian, if that's the intention. And I understand why they're probably really frustrated, because it's something that they put a lot of work into, and it ultimately becomes something that they care about, right? So they're frustrated. But
and this too, you know, what Witchy says also is that they did get a lot of, you know, that I'm sorry that if the chain, like the knife sheath, that was argued in the very beginning. They were trying to get that dismissed, right? Probably because of the chain of custody written out form. But like I said, the digital copy, somewhere in those files would have the timestamps and the dates of every time something was put in there and who updated it and when. Okay. Written copy could be, hey, you need to write this out real quick because we only are doing a digital copy, which was stated from law enforcement from the beginning. That's why I'm saying there still could not be a chain of custody issue just because they weren't giving that file, or the file they didn't come across it, but it's still in discovery. It would have those dates and timestamps included in it. And if we come to find out, oh crap, there was a chain of custody and it was updated in real time and it does go along with what blah 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 blah, well then there's no chain of custody issue, and a bunch of people are going off of assumptions based off of limited information that somebody was getting just for the trial. But the fact that there was so many things that were dismissed, hey, we're trying to argue this, denied, trying to argue this, denied, denied. It was unfair, so I do see where the frustration came from their side
Yeah.
too, from getting shut down so many times, because as we're sitting here looking at it, going through the documents every time they were coming out, every fresh batch for the last 2 years, we're sitting here going, how in the hell could there be this many supplemental requests for discovery for the simplest things?
Yeah. And I think like I know that there is an attitude towards Ann Taylor at the moment, and people are kind of changing their thoughts about her based on some of the stuff that's coming out in this book. And I think what I mainly feel is that we don't know enough for that. We really don't know.
No.
We can't know what she was thinking, what she was planning to do for trial. At the end of the day, of course, there could be ineffective assistance of counsel. There could be. I mean, we don't know. But at the end of the day, if it's something that Brian wanted, it is her job to act under his instruction. She can't be like, tell him he didn't do it and he's like, but I did. Like,
Right.
That's not really how it would work.
And that's another thing with this, and this is another thing that gave me red flags before we get into the book here. Another thing that gave me red flags with Christopher Whitcomb's interview. The fact that he said that Ann Taylor didn't know about the chain of custody issue until 4 days before the plea, I don't understand how they couldn't have talked Brian Koberger out of taking that lame-ass plea. I really don't. And how there wasn't some kind of emergency hearing. And if that's the case, it should have been tossed out within that 4 days. I'm sorry. If you show that there's an issue with the only link between your client, because listen, if the knife sheath, I've been saying it from the beginning since the PCA came out and we read it for the first day. If they didn't have this knife sheath, they wouldn't have even been able to arrest this gentleman. No way. Been saying it from day one. And it goes just 4 days before the plea deal, 4 days before, and nothing got mustered up. I'm sorry. That is a gift from heaven for the defense. And the fact that that was not capitalized, and how Whitcomb says, well, she just was frustrated because they got shut down so many times. Dude, that was like I said, you're rolling dice with weighted dice. You're gonna win. There's no way that gets shut down, because that judge, as much as Hippler seemed to side with the prosecution, let's be honest, if a judge is presented with that information, the one thing judges don't like to have happen is for their rulings to get overturned from another judge. And I guarantee you, if Hippler would have dismissed Ann Taylor bringing that chain of custody issue with the knife sheath, I guarantee you another judge would have overturned that, because it's common sense. It's common sense. Hippler would have known that. He wouldn't have dismissed it if there truly was a chain of custody issue. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I have to say I don't know what I think about any of this yet. I guess it will depend on, as you say, whether there is or isn't some kind of a digital copy of it. this whole case is so confusing. It's very difficult to navigate and make sense of anything when we just don't know what they know. Like we have no idea what Ann Taylor knew or wanted to do or was planning to do. We don't know about the conversations between them, and the plea deal. You have to factor in that he chose to do that. I know it's confusing, but I don't know. I don't know about it.
It just, I don't know. Just we'll see. We'll see. Time is, there's Cyray's got that book, $95. So that's a huge jump up from the last one. Turvey's going to be talking. I'm sorry. I gave my opinion on Turvey in the last show in the beginning. I don't know if you got to hear it or not, but yeah.
Look, I think he's.
Gross.
I think that when it comes to the book, at least, and that's like my experience of him and some of the filings that we read, like there's stuff that he says that I think is really good. I agree with it. There's also stuff where I don't see it. So I don't think he's bad at his job, but I get the impression that he really, it's almost like he's very involved in this case. It's become.
Oh, he is. He's tied to Moscow. He's tied to Moscow, and financially tied through, to Moscow. But it's Idaho.
Yeah.
And this dude is an outsider.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes in Idaho. That's how it goes in Montana. That's how it goes in South Dakota. That's how it goes in North Dakota. That's how it goes in the middle of frickin' nowhere. That's how it goes. That's just how it goes. You're an outsider. You're an outsider. And we'll never know. That's one thing. It's the worst. The no trial.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second. Let's get this thing going here. This is the Rosee Notes. Excited. Thank you all for being here. What's up, Yvette? Glad to see you too. The Broken Plea Breakdown, the University Idaho 4 Murders, all chapters, Rosee Notes. And this is a presentation, so shout out to Rosee for all your hard work on this. Shout out to you for all your hard work on this. Again, if you're not subbed, go sub. Yeah, what's up?
It's just a few key points, though. Like, it's definitely not like a full breakdown of the book.
You keep diminishing your efforts. Trust me. Trust me. All right, here we go. Slide 1. A presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Presentation. Okay. All right, so let me turn this music down. Let's get into this. This is page 1.
Yes. Okay, well, also I wanted to tell you guys that I used the audiobook for this, and this is the first time I've listened to a book. I don't know. So that was really different. I feel like I don't know. I feel like because you guys are asking whether you should get the book or not, and you'll decide at the end of this. But it was.
Thank you, Amy.
The audiobook is actually really, really good. I kind of almost preferred it in some ways. So I'm just like.
It is. You can to me you can focus more on the notes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Christopher Whitcomb, he did like a couple of he did his background in the beginning and stuff, but I included the prologue because I thought that this was kind of interesting, the way he started the book at the end, and then it was kind of the way he was going back in time. So he described the plea hearing, he gave it a lot of detail, he made a movie scene out of it, which was good. I appreciated that. So the prologue was really good, and this is where he gave some of the issues that were going to come up in the rest of the book. And you guys, I'm sure you know from just listening to the interviews so far that the big thing that people want to talk about at the moment is this chain of custody issue, and also the fact that the sheath was initially described as on the floor. So he kind of just tells you straight off the bat that that's going to be a big deal. And when it comes to what we knew about Ethan's blood at the top of the staircase going down to the bottom floor, so he also lets us know in the prologue that he's going to kind of touch on that. And then the fact this is like the big thing for people at the moment is the fact that Ethan had hair or a sample of hair in his fist that was not, I think he says that it was tested, but it was not tested for DNA. It was just confirmed to be human hair. So, I mean, yeah, like that's not something we'd heard. I mean, I hadn't. I don't know.
Yeah, because I thought he was asleep.
So, yeah, not according to this book. No.
No, I'm
Like, we'll
saying
get
I
there,
thought
but yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
you know, we all thought. We thought he was asleep. We didn't know
Mhm.
anything about this hair in the hand. Why wasn't the DNA tested? And how do they know for sure that the DNA wasn't tested? We all knew about the chain of custody problems because they showed up DNA dirty gloves.
Mhm.
You know, when it comes to the four brothers, we knew about that too. The sample was made up of less than 10 skin cells. We heard different numbers, 21, 14, now it's
Mhm.
9, because that's a weird, you know, to say sample was made up of less than 10. Well, was it 9? Was it 8,
Mhm.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5? Like what? Less than
Yeah.
10, so I'm just gonna assume it's 9. And yeah, the issues with the sheath. So he just comes out right out of the gate
Yeah,
swinging.
just straight away. He's just like,
Yeah.
this is what's gonna shock you, which I think is good as well. I mean, and he does kind of just get it over with, which I think is good. That's why I have to be honest, I really liked the prologue. It was one of my favorite parts of the book because it was like plea deal. He described it really well. It was well written, and then he just went straight into that. So I mean, yeah, like you'll find with quite a lot of this book, I think most people have already heard what's new, but then you're going to find chapters where I honestly didn't know, like, I didn't find the point of why he mentioned stuff. Like, it was just stuff we knew. So this was just straight off the bat. He just, like,
Mhm.
tells you. Yeah.
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 Yep. So, yeah, from the beginning, you know, it was like, okay, we know about some stuff,
Hmm.
not so much, but the fact that, you know, I would like to know the full opinion on why they felt the DNA wasn't tested. But you know, who knows? It is weird though if that is true. Why wouldn't it
Yeah.
have been tested? Because you would think that any person that's showing up without even going through training would go, that might be the person that committed the crime, their hair in their hand, right? You
Yeah.
know,
And
you think of
yeah.
passing away and that muscle tightness, and you know, sometimes that can happen where when somebody passes away traumatically and quickly, their whatever their body limbs are,
Mhm.
it automatically becomes locked, and I could see how that would hold somebody's hair in their hands. So even a rookie would show up and go, man, that might be the person that committed this crime, right? So
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
huge issue if it wasn't tested, if that is true.
Yeah.
We
And
might not know because of no trial.
according to the book, it was not. It was labeled as just debris by the lab, or I don't know how. Probably
Debris.
when debris.
Wow.
That's the label that it was given, and
Ain't
it's
that
not the
crazy?
only. Yeah, it's not the only sample of hair at the scene. There was hair in Maddie's room as well, different hair. So
Hmm.
they were not taking hair very seriously, just by the sounds of it. And that, I mean, that's true. That is something that we didn't know until this book. So I think that's a pretty big deal.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Nancy Guthrie case that we
Mm.
were covering, and how there was different samples of this and that, but they couldn't, just contamination issues, custody issues,
Yeah.
and no real sign or effort in it. And it reminds you of what took place here, like who said, the hair in Ethan's hand, that's one thing, because how in the hell, it got there from somehow.
Mm.
But on Maddie, it could be the sloppiness of DNA dirty gloves in their hair, So it
Yeah.
could be that too on Matt, when it comes to Maddie, but definitely not Ethan.
Not in
Definitely,
the hand. No.
no,
No. I
no.
wouldn't expect that either. I mean, like, if you're gonna process samples, all kinds of things, it doesn't, like, from the sounds of it, it doesn't seem like it was something that was very difficult to see. Like, it was in his hand. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it was debris.
Well, one female involved says Amy. Well, Amy, if you remember, I'm sure you were there back then, back in, I think it was January of 23. I think maybe it was December of 23, January, or December of 22, January of 23. We were looking at Emma and Demetrius back then. And, bushy
Yeah.
eyebrows. You might think somebody was a male if they
Mm.
had a mask on, you know what I mean? Two people. It's kind of what we were exploring a couple months after it took place. So who knows? Who knows? But it is interesting. It is.
It is. Yeah.
All right. So this is chapters 1 and 2.
Okay, so I put these together because it seemed like, in this chapter, Whitcomb was talking a lot about like the first responders on the scene and how everything that they did was going to set the tone for later. So a lot of steps that were taken later as more agencies got involved were kind of based on these initial reports. And for Whitcomb, that was quite a problem because he was going through the issues how the reports didn't really match the body cam, such as like things that were said with Hunter Johnson, stuff like that. And he regards this as really important, Whitcomb does, because even though there were, we knew about some of the mistakes, we knew about Kaylee and Xana getting mixed up, and then Officer Nunez kind of saying that was told to him by Dylan, but it wasn't. It was kind of just that he misunderstood things. So
You know what? I didn't misunderstand his little selfie that he took with the same kind of mask with Moscow behind him at night.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Every time
No,
I hear Nunez, I think of
right.
that screenshot that we got sent in the very beginning.
And I thought about that when I was reading this part of the book. Like, it was on my mind as well. I was just like, so it was on my mind because, look, he does talk about, especially in chapter 1, he talks about Nunez quite a lot, obviously because he was the first one there, and there were mistakes. Like, you can't deny it. I mean, even in the report with like mixing up people and not describing the scene first, but describing the victims first, the way he approached the questioning with Dylan, it was.
It's why I came up with the saying back then, and it was my first ever short. The best way to exclude your DNA if you committed a crime is show up as a first responder.
Yeah. Yeah. And first responder is like it wasn't even handled like a proper first responder. The way
for a reason.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that one of the things that really bothered Whitcomb which I don't know if people knew about. I didn't know about this, but he originally thought in a way that it was a unaliving and then self unaliving. So one of the first things
Right.
he said when he got into Xana's room was that he thought that Ethan unalived himself, and that that
That
according
was
to
an early
Whitcomb,
report.
yeah, so according to Whitcomb, that's kind of showing the way that he walked in making assumptions, and the whole thing kind of just started with conjecture. Because even if you have reason to suspect that, you don't just say it. You don't just you don't just like
Right.
make these assumptions.
You're supposed to let the evidence lead you to the answers, not
Yes.
suggest or come to preemptive conclusions. You're
Yes.
supposed to let the evidence lead you, not you lead the evidence.
Yeah, so I asked an EMT about this when I read this part, and I said, like, is there anything where you can, like, you've been to a scene and you can say for sure this is a self unaliving, like when you're standing right there. That person told me that the only time that he would feel comfortable saying that is if all the doors were locked and there was no way that somebody had gotten in. Other than that, no. Like, it's not really the place of an EMT to just like say stuff like that, no matter how traumatized you are. So Whitcomb's like looking at this as conjecture, making all of these assumptions. So I think that's a good point. I do think it's a really good point that he's making there. The scene from the beginning, we all know it was just chaos. It was crazy. There was people who shouldn't be there. There was
Walking
police
in that
officers.
shouldn't have been in there.
Yeah, there was police officers who weren't sure how to approach things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's kind of looking at how this is just going to influence everything to date, all the way till the end. Like he talks a lot about that butterfly effect theory, which I don't know a lot about, but he mentions it. I didn't put in the notes because
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was obvious. Like we saw the videos. This is why they didn't want even news crews out there because just like the DNA dirty gloves on the drone video, there was news crews that were taking video of the officers.
Hmm.
There's other people taking video of outside, and you could see that half of them, even on the body cams when they got released during these court dumps,
Hmm.
that half of them were not wearing protective equipment. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the thing, like when it comes to the book overall, like there are some things that are like, wow, okay, we didn't know it. But overall, it's stuff we knew. Like it's mostly stuff we knew. I'm sorry to
well,
say it, but
yeah, like with the blood, and the not, the rooms had blood where they would typically pertaining to that crime,
mhm.
but the hallway and the kitchen and the floor in the living room, whatever you want to call it, how it was diluted. They couldn't tell what it was diluted from, and so they're assuming it was water. And when we're talking about officers that aren't showing up with personal protective equipment on, specifically booties, and you have fresh snowfall coming down and your boots are wet and they've collected little bits of snowfall in your boots, you're walking in without protecting yourself with personal protective equipment. And maybe that's why everywhere else, including the latent shoe print, came back with nothing because they were all walking up in there with snowy shoes.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that kind of like speaks to how unreliable the seat is, just with the fact that there were so many people there. It was just too many people to keep
Yeah.
track of. And regardless of whether they were like civilians or police. So what's interesting about that is in the book he says that the floors were clean. So like a lot of the blood was on walls
Ain't
and
no
stuff.
killer. Ain't no killer. Ain't no killer gonna go to a crime scene and go, I hope they have water service and a fresh towel for me to wipe behind myself. And no killer is gonna include a spray bottle of water and a fresh towel to wipe behind himself. It's not
Yeah.
gonna happen. The only reason that somebody would try and clean that with a towel and water is because you're dumb as shit and you're panicking. And the only person that would do that is somebody that maybe didn't call 911 for 8 hours.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm inclined to believe that too.
Don't hate don't hate me.
No, we're all thinking it. So but
Killer ain't trying to clean up behind them with water and a fresh towel.
no, and I mean,
That's the dumbest shit I ever heard, if that's what somebody thinks. I'm sorry. Hey,
well,
George, you got the fresh towel and the spray bottle? Like, come
George.
what? What?
Yeah, but I
What?
mean, if you think about it, like the main thing where I think that there wasn't a cleanup or like an extensive cleanup by the killer or killers or whatever you believe, is that how did they know that nobody was going to call 911 for so long, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's like they
Especially
needed,
if you got somebody chasing you and Dylan supposedly called out their names between the second and
yeah,
the third time she looked out her door.
yeah. So you're
Get
like,
real.
even if you were going to clean up, you're not going to be like, well, I
Get
hope you
real.
guys don't mind if I just quickly clean up. Don't call anyone until I'm gone. Like, the fact that they didn't call 911 it's a problem, obviously, but it's not something that the killer had prior notice of. Like, he had to, like, he's probably just as surprised as the rest of us, like when he left and he was like,
Right.
wow, I had so much more time than I
Just
thought.
like Nancy Guthrie's abductor. They're probably like, damn, they still
Wow.
can't even find me. Like,
Yeah.
damn, and I showed up on camera too. My face all up in it.
Yeah. So if they were cleaning, if the killer was cleaning the house, they needed permission from the people who owned the house. Like, they weren't gonna like spend 8 hours cleaning the house and just like hoping that no one would notice. So when it comes to that, like, I believe there was a cleanup. I just don't see how it was done in the in this quick time frame.
And they're wearing
Yeah.
and they're wearing 5 shoe sizes too small. Crampy toes and fresh towels and water bottles,
That's so uncomfortable. Imagine cleaning
me
when
a-
your shoes are too
Right? Yeah, trying to clean with 5 sizes too small, trying to clean it up, making it look like it's somebody else. Oh my God. Like, and trying to do all that in that little a time too, man. Can't imagine. But yeah, Nunez is always, I don't know, when somebody sent me that screenshot of Nunez with that photo
Mhm.
and them posting it, and that was December the 22. It was just like, who does that? Like, that's so creepy, that's so creepy. So yeah, Nunez has been on the radar for a very long time. That's one of the reasons I was nervous when I went out there for the year anniversary to
I
do
don't
that
blame
work,
you.
because I was like, that's the last motherfucker I want to run into. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it was, yeah, But yeah. Now with the hunter stuff, the reports mismatch with the body cam, it's lazy work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you didn't fill out this paperwork. We need you to fill it out real quick. And somebody whose responsibility it was to do the real work, because remember, they were just used to writing noise complaint tickets. And the fact that they were like, shit, I actually have to fill out this form and this and that.
Mhm.
Now that's a problem and it goes all the way to the top, because if Fry You were in charge at the time. The fact that you did, because listen, it's one thing if your subordinates don't do what they're supposed to do, but if your subordinates don't do what they're supposed to do, and you as a chief, it's your responsibility to make sure that they're doing their work. And so if you're not making sure they're doing their work, it falls on everybody all the way, because shit rolls uphill sometimes too. And that shit rolled uphill. And that's a problem with Fry too. You're not making sure that your dudes are on the up and up.
Yeah, and that's also going to come up. It comes up in this chapter when it comes to the ISP lead investigator as well. So, I think it's on the next slide, but it's Talbot. Whitcomb highlights a couple of issues with him as well, and it's really similar to what you're saying, is that he's like supposed to be the lead on this, but his report was late. It was 3 weeks late. He was the one who said that the sheath was on the floor, but then he logged, like somewhere else he logged it, and the sheath was on the bed like everyone else was saying. So it's confusing, and that's why he brings up the knife when it comes to Hunter, because they weren't like very concerned about the knife at the time, and they didn't know anything yet, so they weren't like eager to seize potential weapons and handling that with any kind of urgency. And they can't say that it was because of the sheath and that knife not being important, because they couldn't have known it yet. So when it comes to ISP lead investigator, he was, and I'm jumping ahead of the slides, but this is just from memory, like he was reporting things that were testable according to Whitcomb, like seeing blood on the table, but it wasn't very clear that it was blood. So I don't know, I haven't really looked at all of these photos, but Whitcomb is kind of implying, and he doesn't outright say it, but he's kind of implying that he used the forensic reports to write his report as opposed to anything that he actually looked at. So,
well, it's a problem. Let's be honest, whether the knife sheath was seen on the floor or under Maddie, it's a problem again if any law enforcement walks in thinking that knife sheath is not important. How do you come to the conclusion that it's not important in the beginning? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Unless you
especially
didn't
that.
see one. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And look, when it comes to, regardless of whether Brian Koberger is guilty or not or anything, one thing I don't understand is the sheath. Like it's never made sense. And like to think about it like that, like we didn't even know that there was like discrepancies on where it was,
Right.
or when it was there or anything like that. So the sheath, when we get to like later on, we'll discuss some of what Turvey has to say about the sheath, and I disagree with some of it, but I do think that the sheath is, if there's an issue, it's the sheath. Like, you know, yeah.
And that's sad too, you know, that they got to make a law to pass, so you don't, like, that's it's common. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know it didn't exist in Idaho, because as far as I knew, nobody was allowed to move, touch, nothing when it comes to a body until they get permission. Until they get permission from the coroner and the medical examiner. Like,
Yeah.
like they have every say so when it comes to the body. But yeah, the problematic things such as mixing up KG and Xana, Kaylee and Xana, a lot of shit going on, you know, a lot of shit going on. They didn't never, you know, it's like It's like Rosendahl said in his little promotion when they were trying to get funding for the new Moscow Police Department before the crimes took place. He was like, if you want, he even said it himself, if you want to rank up, come to Moscow. They know. You just write a bunch of noise complaints, you get rewards for it, and you launch. It's a launching pad to go somewhere else, Idaho bred, and so when it comes to everything that was going on, there's they weren't even that was the last thing any of these people thought that they'd be coming up across at all when it come to Moscow. So there's no reason that they were going to try and be prepared for it or think that they needed to get training or pay attention for that matter. Is just regular schooling. You know what I mean? That's regular schooling for that. So
well, it shows.
That's what happens when you're not prepared. Yeah, you make mistakes and you slip up and you're sloppy.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking with emotion, and you always make mistakes when you do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the not seeing an issue with the knife that Hunter had, that's a problem too, you know. But it goes along with them. I wouldn't. It's like I said, when I went out there and I was interviewing a bunch of people, talking to them, and exploring Moscow, and how I saw that the university really runs that whole town, runs everything. The police department, they're the ones who bought the old police department, gave them funding to get the new ones. Basically everybody is under the university's pocket. And from the moment that it took place, this is a campus murder when it wasn't even on campus. We got to tie it to the campus, So then, and Green, hey, we need to worry about this. We need to worry about this enrollment here.
Yeah.
I really feel like Green is the one who manipulated this whole time, even the MPD. All of it. All of it.
I can believe that. Yeah, I mean...
So there wouldn't be an issue with Hunter having a knife, No, go home, go home, go home.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I mean, like, hindsight is fine, but at the time, what did they know about this knife and this person who was showing them the knife that, like, yeah.
They couldn't have. There's, if they didn't even know how to process a crime scene, they obviously never even really saw some real shit. And how can they have determined if that knife was part of the crime or not based off of the injuries? They don't know.
No.
So that you test and explore everything, because that's where you find the hidden answers. Otherwise, you'd already know who it was as soon as you walked into the door.
Yeah.
Now, 3 different knives used, though. I remember when Kathy Mabbitt was first discussing the injuries, she was discussing sharp and blunt and cuts and tears, right?
Yeah.
3 different knives used, though. So that was interesting as well.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't heard that specific number either until here. So, and it just shows you like every knife should have been taken more seriously if it was there, if it was in the room.
Especially if 3 different ones are being noted, not one, not just a K-bar. 3. That's
Yeah,
a
because
huge
again, they
problem.
couldn't have known. They couldn't have known at the time what they were dealing with. Like, that's the stage where everything's important. So,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
All right. This is page 3, I believe. So we're still on chapters 1 and 2.
Yes, but I probably covered some of it. So, everybody knows that ISP got involved. I already spoke about Tabolt. I can't say it properly. And this is the new thing: is the sheath. Like, where was the sheath? And I guess that kind of spurs on this discussion about chain of custody, right? And obviously, chain of custody is important because once things get to court, you have to know everything that it's been through to know that it's still reasonably linked to the scene. So I think that's what's so important about bringing up Tabolt, is that he's like this person who he filed his report late, so that's already important. Is like he was the one who was supposed to be leading the crime scene, the rest of the technicians on scene, but his own report was late. So that's strange. And this is the person who logged the sheath into evidence. So I think like they go into a bit of detail about him, and I think that's probably why, it's like setting up the later discussion that's going to come on chain of custody. So yeah, and of course, noting that it was about 15 hours after the crimes occurred that they started like properly processing the scene formally. That is crazy. Like,
Isn't it? They show up 8 hours later. 8 hours later and 15 hours later. 23 hours later is when they finally started doing what they were supposed to.
yeah,
No
like,
justice for these victims.
I think it took them a long time to organize themselves. And
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
like
You got
cannot... Sorry. No, I just mean like we cannot know what went on. Like the reason that the reports are the way they are is because they had to like fix it later and make it seem like it was working properly when it was chaos. It seemed like it was absolute chaos. So
that's why when we heard Lanier talk in the very beginning, and he said as soon as he pulled up, before he even got out, as soon as he pulled up, he didn't even get out of the car, and he called Idaho State Police and said, "You guys, we're going to need you because there's no way that we're going to be able to handle this." He didn't even go inside yet. He just pulled up.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the environment in which they're supposed to be having like a formal investigation into 4 homicides. Like, it's...
These poor souls didn't have a chance from the start when it came to this investigation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I mean, that's one thing that I think the book does do quite well, is that it starts off like by highlighting that like the beginning of this was a mess. We knew that, but it was well written. It was put together pretty well. Again, mostly stuff we knew, but yeah, it was just a reminder, right? It was a mess, and I think that the reason that they're doing that is because they want to start talking about these chain of custody issues, which, I mean, I don't know. I think that there is also a point to the fact that if MPD would come out straight away and say that that's not true, there's not a problem, then I agree with you that like they would need to really investigate that digital copy, because even in this book they say that there's no ways that the defense has seen everything.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And if the digital copy said it was used from the beginning, supposedly was used from the very beginning, they Brett Payne even stated that they all shared the file, even in the testimonies before. In the very beginning, he even stated that they all shared it in that little headquarters that they set up. And yes, anybody has worked with files like that. It shows everything, the timestamp, who initiated it, who updated it, dates, times, when there was changes, everything. So you could literally see, okay, this was put in at this time, this date. Then so and so updated it. Then it was updated again, and you would have all of that with the digital file. And so, yeah, I'm sitting here going, hey, we're just listening to statements from people that have only got to see limited information, and it could still be in there. So to say that to go on this hoorah about how there's a chain of custody problem, first we have to sit back and go, there might not be. You know what I'm saying? And that's the unfortunate part about trial. Unless the defense or the prosecution leaks that information, we're not going to
Yeah.
know for sure. And we can't say
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Exactly. And also when these things are coming out as leaks, how do you know what is and isn't reliable? So I think from trying to kind of understand what I think went on there with the 4 days before and Turvey and all of that, I don't think that it's fair to say that Ann Taylor had just found out that there was a chain of custody issue. I think that she wanted to check if there was. And like, I don't think it's a guarantee that there was or wasn't, because she wouldn't have had enough time in 4 days to like investigate and confirm that. So to say that Turvey brought it to her attention and it's all but confirmed, I don't think it's that simple. I think that maybe they just like discussed it and then things changed because there was a plea deal. I think that's more like what it is, but obviously, wouldn't know, it wasn't there, but I think that it's been reworded a little. Like, if you know what I mean. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry. And if he was as smart as everybody says he was, and he had this background and knew all this stuff, then he would have known, if this is real, this is my shot. Even if you went to trial. Even if you went to trial. But you Supreme Court something. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the chain of custody, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Now what is written on that paper, that list, and how it's all one handwriting, and how items that are written down aren't correct or they're mismatched. It's just like the Brett Payne Exhibit A, PCA. The cities don't match the states. The routes it was all hurried up. You didn't proofread it before you typed it, or before you printed it. You didn't proofread it. You would have noticed things. Even the streets were mixed up a little bit when it came to the route. So it's sloppy. It's sloppy. But it doesn't mean that the digital file, because we didn't look at the digital file. We looked at a paper copy. We don't know what the digital file has.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we don't know what they know, I guess. Like, we just don't know what look, they're saying that there was a digital copy. I don't think they would just say that. So
they've been saying it from the beginning.
Yeah, it's just an
Haven't seen it.
unknown, I think. And that
Yeah.
that is one of the problems with this book, is that it's not like nothing can replace a trial, but this book is not a balanced book. Okay? Like a lot of it involves Turvey. So it's not like and I criticized Brian Enton in the beginning when we first saw his interview, and because he was saying like this author didn't speak to the families, and I kind of get that, but when I started reading the book, I realized that he didn't speak to he didn't try and get the perspective of Ann Taylor's side, of the state's side. So it's very much like
Because he was messing with people that had a confidentiality agreement and were breaking it. He already knew that they wouldn't talk, you know?
Yeah, but he should
He
have
knew what he was doing.
I thought he would have at least said like, I attempted to get other perspectives on this and was denied or something. And I'm speaking about it a little bit early, but one of my main concerns about the book is that it's like I almost feel like Turvey is a co-author of the book.
Yeah.
But they just didn't put his name there. It's like it's his book in a lot of ways. And that's where like the issue comes in, is that it can be a great book. Some people are going to love the book. It's not a balanced book. And we can criticize Dateline and all of the others for being over on one side, but then it doesn't help to do it all the way to the other side either. It's not a impartial book. I don't think. I know he says it is, but no. I don't think it is.
No, it's like when we were first talking about I mean, it had to be maybe a week ago. I said it smells like it's a book of what Turvey was telling Christopher Whitcomb before I even got to read any bits of it. And it's true. That's what it smelled like, and I smell those hot dog steaks. I really do. They're gross. The chain of custody, where the location of the knife sheath. Now that stuff, after a couple years of us not knowing that existed, how officers didn't mention it, that should have mentioned it, considering their proximity to the victims and how they would have seen it at either spot, whether it was under Maddie or on the floor. Officers that would have seen it didn't mention it. Other officers mentioned floor, under Maddie, different things. That's a problem too. Yeah. That is a huge problem. A huge problem. Now, that's not enough, and I think that was one of the items that was brought to the courts to try and get the knife sheath dismissed, was the different locations or non-location of the knife sheath from the officers that were processing the scene. But that's not enough for Hippler to toss it. That is enough for it to be argued in trial. And I honestly think that if you have multiple officers stating multiple things or not stating something when they would or should have, compared to what the other statements were, well, then that's a problem in a court of law too. That's a problem.
Yeah, and I also think that when it comes to the sheath and it being on the floor, they also would need to look into whether that particular police officer just didn't go to the scene. Just wrote, just wrote his report based off I don't even know what. They need to get to the bottom of whether the sheath was there, whether it moved around, or whether somebody just didn't bother to make up their report properly. Well.
I straight up walked out on a job one time. I was, part of my management, career, 20 plus years management. And I straight up walked out of a management job, one of my management jobs, because I was where I was working during this situation. Um, I was the one that also managed the like the human resources part of uh, dismissed employees and such, right?
Mhm.
And I was brought into the office one time, and they were trying to justify getting rid of somebody. And they wanted me to write down different reports and date and timestamp them from previous dates and timestamps as me writing the reports so they could use that to then justify what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I walked out, never
Yeah.
showed up anymore. I said, if this is how you operate, I'm not going to be a part of this company anymore. And I straight up fucking left right
Yeah.
there. Because I'm not going to, and yeah, it reminds me of that. Hey, we need you to just write this down, write it down like this, put a date, put it on this date, this time, we just need you to fill it out. The more we have,
Yeah.
the better we can get this thing through the crack, and that's exactly what
Exactly.
it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was reading that, it was this I got a similar feeling like, is there something wrong with the sheath, or is there something wrong with the report about the sheath? We don't know. We don't really know, because even in this chapter, he's talking about this particular individual as putting putting stuff in his report that, according to Whitcomb, he couldn't have seen. Like, it's not clear enough on the photos. I don't know if it is or isn't, but does that indicate a problem with the person or the sheath? I don't know. You can't jump to the conclusion.
Well, we
Straight
know
away.
that neither Nunez or Warner had a sheath in the report, and they were right there, whether it's on the floor or under Maddie.
Yeah.
You don't miss it. You don't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. Like, this sheath is just it is hard to believe that this was like central to the whole case, because nothing about the sheath is straightforward ever. It's
No.
always like there's always something with this sheath. So
It is, and it's always has been. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Ever,
the sheath.
ever since somebody on Reddit said that they probably found the sheath, like it's been a topic the whole time, and it's the only thing that is connecting all of what
Yeah.
has taken place the last couple years.
Yeah.
So he discusses his main issue, DM and BF.
Yeah. Yeah, so he says the thing that we all know, but he has to say it. Like, the most important thing about investigating a crime scene is going back to the earliest point where it was still intact, I think is what he said. But the problem with it is that there were survivors, so you can't really know what is and isn't intact because there was this huge time gap. So, like, you don't know what they've interfered with, whether they meant to or not. There's just no ways that you can know. He does mention that Dylan, and it'll come up later, like, her movements don't seem to be what she said, but then again, we knew that. Again, we knew about the phone activity, we knew that she was on Indeed or like all kinds of things when
Right. But
she was
somehow
sleep typing.
dreaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Somehow
yeah.
dreaming too. Right.
So, I mean, it's a small confirmation if there's this thing about an Apple Watch and her movements, but at the same time, we did know. But like what he's highlighting, again, we also knew, is that it's hard to know what the scene looked like, obviously, because a lot of us feel pretty strongly that things were cleaned
Botched
up.
from the beginning.
Botched, cleaned up. There was like all kinds of, and statements were just mismatched. There was people with vacuum cleaners and, like, again, with the chaos.
Right.
And Yeah. So how do you know what
The
you're looking
Swiffer
at when you walk
jetpack.
in? It just gets worse every time. There's one eyebrow, and I mean,
I
yeah,
miss my
like
footprint. Shit. Steam cleaning as you're leading one hand with the knife and the other one's steam cleaning behind you as you're chasing people, and then you wipe it all down with a fresh towel and a
yeah,
water bottle,
hygienic homicide.
right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
they're never gonna catch me now.
yeah, and then get changed as well, right?
Right, they're never gonna
Yeah,
catch me. You know what though? That's some amazing water cleaner to not have any of the victim's DNA in your vehicle after you did that too.
yeah, yeah. I'm pretty
Amazing.
sure that whatever product that is, like, they're upset that they can't advertise.
It's too well, you know what? If Billy Mays was around, I bet you they would have advertised it. The
I don't know what
Koberger
that is, but
Koberger Clean It. That's what you'd call it. Koberger Clean It. It wipes even DNA.
oh my god.
Yours now for 4 easy payments of $29.9999.
Mm-hmm.
Type in chat GPT and how to get away with the rest of it. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Right?
Just bring your own vacuum cleaner.
But yeah.
But yeah.
The issues, moving, multiple stories. Oh, I was probably dreaming this and that. The fake tears, the fake crying, the fake reasons for the 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And he brings up inconsistencies, like Hunter Johnson saying that when he went up to the front door, he put in the pin, which I don't even know why they have a pin, because when they asked who has the pin to the front door, they listed like everyone in Moscow. They were like, this is who has the pin, and then they just like, why have a pin? But he says he put the pin in, and a witness said that the door was open. So there's a lot of inconsistencies. That's why they wanted. Well, in the book they say it's important to like start looking at everything that Hunter Johnson was saying, because he was the first outsider that came into the scene. But then again, in my opinion, I don't even know if that matters, because you still have to try and separate what was done by him by what was done by the survivors. Like you don't even like where do you stop?
As much as when it comes to Hunter, as much as we're cracking on the police for not expecting this to ever happen, not being prepared for it, not even thinking that it was possible, Hunter's in the same spot. You had it's a huge football game the night before. You had a huge party day, drinking from the early. We heard the stories on the different docs that they had coming out over the last couple years. We heard Hunters, they were drinking from the early morning all through the night. And when you're woke up, you're hungover, you might not remember if you put the pin in the day before or that day. That stuff's happening. You're just trying to catch up with the moment. I can see how you would make, mistakes like that.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that as well. And I think that again is on the police, because we saw, like, from the moment the body cam from the moment it came out, the body cam, we saw how badly those initial interviews were conducted. Like, it was like
they left him alone, standing out there, coming back in, going out. Like, there was no control out there, even with the witnesses, the surviving witnesses.
Especially with them. I mean,
it was chaos.
If you're conducting an interview outside on the sidewalk to the point where one witness can just ask the other witness how to spell something, then I don't even see the point in trying to give interviews. Like, just don't.
Or the interviews after they got to stay in the hotel for the first night together, all of them and their friends mixing stories together too, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to like the chaos that was there during, like, when things were first being questioned and stuff, I think that like if the interviews had been handled better, then those kinds of things like the shock and the exhaustion and whatever people were going through, that could have been handled better in like a formal interview setting instead of what they did. I don't know what to call what they did, but the inconsistencies, I think that some of them, they do make sense. Like it is an impossible situation, especially what Hunter was, dealing with. So
Yeah, and you're right. The police started the investigation at a notable disadvantage because of the lack of afforded time, with the victims there being there for that long. And also, all of the contamination. We heard all of the people trying to go in and coming out and couldn't get in. And you got, we even saw the or heard the call with them peeking around the side of the stairs, the wall, waiting for Hunter to tell them what's going on, because nobody could make it. They couldn't make it past that, basically that ping pong table,
Yeah, and we know that there was
top of the
confusion
stairs.
because a lot of the reports say that Hunter told them to get out and call 911, and he was saying get out, but we heard that on the 911 call, so it couldn't have even been that he said it before. So I do think that like the sequence of time for them was out just because they were like dealing with a lot at once. And again, that would have been the role of the police to kind of take charge of the scene, I guess.
Yeah, it's their responsibility.
But yeah, like they like the police can't do anything about the 8-hour gap, but they can get there and take charge straight away. So it's almost like it was just a series of issues. Yeah, that started off the investigation. Yeah.
And then AT could have not kept up with the volume of the Brady disclosures. The defense may have missed significant amount of exculpatory evidence and mislabeled. It's unorganized. Of course, stuff's going to be mislabeled. It was a benefit to the prosecution for everything to be unorganized, because how long it would take for the defense to be able to go through that. But that's the game that gets played in the justice system.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing to obligate them to organize it. So
Right.
It just is, unfortunately. But yeah, and I also think that that's like, I think that's something that Ann Taylor was trying to express the whole time. Like Ann Taylor was trying to communicate that she needed more time. She needed all of this. So I think it's premature for people to like attack her for not knowing things and not doing things, when throughout the whole process she was like, I need more time. This is what I need. And
there's only so much.
Yeah. She wasn't getting like what she was asking for.
And with him saying that the defense may have missed a significant amount of exculpatory evidence, well, then it makes me wonder, well, then what was the exculpatory evidence that we've all been asking this whole time? What was it then? If I may have missed, may have not. So what was the link that may have missed a significant amount? What was the link to that, How did may have not missed a significant amount? How do you know?
And that is a part of what, that's what the problem with things coming out in this way is, that there's like a very accusatory tone towards the defense at this point, like for things that they didn't do or didn't know and things they missed. But it's like they're not disclosing their side of it, so that's why it bothers me the way this book is put together. And I'll keep saying I don't think it's a very like balanced book. So I'm just gonna keep saying that. Like that's just my response right now. It's not a balanced book.
So for anybody that doesn't understand what you mean by that, break it down by unbalanced, because I was saying that it's just dude getting information from different people that are not trying to be the ones, quote, given the information, or I should say saying the information themselves, just giving it to him to regurgitate it and throw something
Yeah.
together. Is that's
So yeah, that is partly what I mean. So like Turvey is a large part of this book. And the way things have come out, like Ann Taylor's office, a statement saying, you know, that he's acting like, you need to put this in the context of his unethical behavior. You can see that there's an issue between them.
yeah.
So when it comes to how much of Turvey is in this book, I think that it would have been good to balance it out with maybe somebody who is going to give Ann Taylor the benefit of the doubt, because it feels a little bit like you say, it's too much Turvey. It's too much Turvey in the book.
And we got introduced to Turvey in January, and we came up with our own conclusion of Turvey back then, and decided we weren't gonna cover that anymore, but just because a few different reasons, and you know, we can always chit chat more about that tomorrow in tomorrow morning show. We can get a little more personal with it, so to speak. But I'm not that, you know, he's gonna be doing an interview here in a day or two. The only reason I'm gonna watch it is to see if he's still exhibiting the same kind of characteristic behaviors that he did prior. And if I see those characteristics, I'm not really interested in anything that he has to say. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, we had said we were going to cover that podcast, and I'm sure people noticed that we just didn't, because I kept saying, like, I mean,
we don't have to get into the personal, you know.
Yeah.
We can we can save that for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that'll be a conversation, because that's a conversation where we kind of have to, I already did it on a show before. You kind of have to explain where you're coming from.
Yes.
Before,
okay.
You know.
But what I'm saying is that I
it's
think
just,
that
you don't, it's not jiveable, you know.
Okay.
It's a good way to say it.
So like I personally have criticized Howard Bloom throughout all of this. I criticized Dateline, I criticized mainstream media, and I don't think that it would be fair for me to be like, well, this book is just like agreeing with so much stuff that I've been saying, so I'm gonna say it's a great book, because it's doing the same thing, just on the other side. Like
it's the Whitcomb Bloom version. Like, it's the same. You know, it's what I've been trying to not say this whole time, but I'll say it. Like, it reminds me of Bloom. A bunch of assumptions, little factual information made to sell.
Yeah, I think that's
and told information from people that it's their opinions based on minimal evidence that they were exposed to. That's just.
Yeah. Look, I
said it.
If you did. I think that if the statement by Ann Taylor that came out in her office, it was very like revealing about what is probably going on behind the scenes, and it just puts the book in a different.
I feel so bad for her too.
Yeah, and look, maybe she did do something wrong, like, but we don't.
I don't see that. We've seen how Ann Taylor has been I've never seen a public defender do what Ann Taylor's
Yeah,
done. I'm just gonna
yeah.
say that. I've never seen a public defender do what she's done before he was even in custody in Idaho. She shut down that
Mm,
cleaning crew at 11:22 the morning Koberger was arrested. She
yeah.
shut it
So
down before he was even in Idaho. That's and I said it back then. That's what I would want in a frickin' public defender.
yeah, yeah, and I think that if Brian Koberger had said to her, "I don't want to do a plea deal," she would have gone that direction. And if he said to her, "I want to do a plea deal," that's what she did. She acts under
Yeah.
his instruction. And I mean, whether like putting the actual plea deal aside, I just see that she kind of did her job. Like, I don't think that when it comes to investigating the hair in Ethan's hand and stuff like that, if it's true that that came up 4 days before her client said to her, "I don't want to do this anymore," how much time would she have had to investigate all of that, including chain of custody issues? That's just my opinion. Like, at the moment, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
too
nobody knew what the hell they were doing. That's why, there's so many issues with the discovery. And they knew
Yeah,
that. They've done this in other cases. They overwhelm the discovery, unorganized, so you don't have the proper time to go through everything. It's a
yeah,
tale as old as time when it comes to how they operate up there. They knew it, and it
yeah,
was a benefit. So
yeah.
they
And
got what
look,
they wanted.
to be clear, like, I'm not I don't even really have like a full opinion on, like, I still cannot make up my mind on Brian Koberger. Like, to this day, I'm still not sure. Like,
Me
I
too.
I'm just like, some days I think he did it, some days I think he didn't. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like,
I'm the
I
same
have
way.
that where some days I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't. And
Yeah.
then I think it over and I'm like, well, maybe he did.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming at this from the perspective of, this book shouldn't exist because he did it. I'm coming at it from, I just,
He
on
plead
balance.
he pled to the worst ever deal with the best chances you had to walk out uncuffed, and there's questions all over the evidence that we've been asking and still been asking even after stuff is coming out. So it's like you go outside and it smells like rain, but it's sunny. It's like, wait a minute,
It's confusing.
wait a minute. I smell
Yeah.
rain, I smell manure, but I see flowers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Mixed
yeah,
messages. Mixed
yeah.
messages. Like, I get that. And uh, like, reading this book did kind of, I don't know, like, I did finish the book thinking, well, maybe he didn't do it. Like, it accomplished that, but I still don't think that the way this information came out. Firstly, I don't think there was a lot in there that was all that new, and I don't think that it came out in a way that was fair to Ann Taylor and what she did try and do for her client.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where was I? Oh gosh, I left the slide so long ago.
Uh,
um,
receive
okay,
material.
yeah, so the state hired Sutton, and I'm sure a lot of people remember those reports that we read. Sutton was the one who said that there was undiluted blood, like, between the two rooms. I'm sorry, there was undiluted blood and diluted blood. And I think what the book did was it kind of helped to highlight that the blood between the rooms was what was diluted, but there was undiluted blood inside the bedrooms. So that, when I read that, I really was convinced of a cleanup. Like, the book did help with that. So I think that when it comes to, like, what Whitcomb is saying when he introduces Sutton, he's kind of saying that a lot of what she said was to do with confirmation bias because of the fact that Brian Koberger had already been arrested. Like it was all kind of done already. It was really just to confirm. So I agree with him there, where he kind of says that hiring an expert at that point, it's already like the opinion's already polluted. He does kind of go into some of the pictures from the scene, and he does mention Kaylee and Maddie, and he also notes that there was hair in Maddie's bed, and that it doesn't really match from looking at it. It doesn't seem to match Brian Coburg, and it doesn't seem to match the victims. So it's again hair that seems to be untested on
Longer
the scene.
dark hair is what it means. Longer than Koberger's hair, but a different color because they both had blonde. So yeah, longer
Yeah.
dark colored hair.
Yeah, and I've heard people saying, that there was blood at the roots of the hair in Maddie's room, and I heard that too. I heard Christopher Whitcomb say it. For some reason, I cannot remember it being in the book, which is why it's not there. But it might have been in the book. Like I said, I was listening, not reading. And of course, that would be suspicious. I mean, that either means that somebody had a head injury when it fell out, or that it was yanked out. So again, looking, indicative of a struggle. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to Sutton's report, because she was acting on behalf of the state, there was a lot of stuff that she didn't seem to mention. So like I get why he mentions that. I get why she's in there. Why she's such a large part of that part of the book. Her saying that the diluted blood was probably because of saliva, because of the injuries to the face. This book helped me understand that it's not that. It doesn't seem like that. So in that way, I think it did help. Like when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it was only in the shared areas, not on the actual bedrooms where the crimes took place. So yeah, I agree. Now I agree that there was definitely a cleanup. So that helps. That helped kind of refute what Sutton was saying. So I give Chris Whitcomb a point there. He talks about like the potential posing of Kaylee and Maddie. And this is going to be a little bit graphic, but some of it we knew, some of it we didn't. Kaylee and Maddie, according to this book, it says that they were both on their backs. We know that they were both in Madison's bed. They were partially covered with the comforter, and Kaylee was on top of the right shoulder of Maddie with her left hand folded adjacent to her chin. Now, this is how it was worded in the book. It says, with her left hand folded adjacent to her chin. And I cannot tell whose left hand he's talking about. Because he says Kaylee was on top of Maddie's right shoulder with her left hand folded adjacent to her chin. So, like, is the her Kaylee or Maddie? I'm not sure.
Kaylee.
It is?
To me, I took it as Kaylee's left hand, kind of like if you're, kind of like this. So it's your left hand is folded, and it'd be laying right by Maddie. So if this was Maddie's head, this is my head. My arms folded, left hand folded, adjacent to the chin. So basically, my left hand is laying right by the right side of her face.
Okay.
Is how I took it.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense. And then he notes
But the princess pose is what I'm not
Yeah.
understanding. I don't understand what a princess pose is.
Right. So he says that observers, and more than one, described Maddie in a princess pose. Now, like you, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I Googled it, and
Like
it
this?
says... Yeah, so it says that it's something like saintly.
Or like, I mean, how do you... It's why I said that the person wasn't walking outside. They were... You don't have time to do that. You think Xana's gonna run upstairs while you're posing the victims? No, she's gonna run upstairs when she's hearing the
The
bashing
noise.
of somebody's bones breaking. That's when she's gonna run up there. You don't have time to frickin' pose, princess pose, and all this other stuff. You went back upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because I think there is maybe some like validity to this argument. Like maybe they were posed. I know that when we saw the documents earlier on, the state was saying that they could have just moved that way. I don't know. I mean, like I just said, I don't even know what a princess pose really is. But yeah, that is something that is new. It's new when it comes, for me at least, when it comes to the book. Like I didn't know about the
I didn't
princess
either.
pose.
Yeah, I didn't
And
either.
I didn't know that they were placed as if cuddling. That's what it says
Right.
in the book. Kaylee was found in PJ bottoms with her legs spread. So we knew about the PJ bottoms because we had read the autopsy reports. And I think we knew about the sock as well. So there was a sock on her left foot and another sock under her right calf. This is also something I didn't know. It said that Madison was rolled slightly to her side on the left. We knew about the leg sort of hanging off the bed and her foot being on the floor, but I didn't know that she was slightly rolled to her left. So,
Right.
according to the book, this is all indicative of them being posed. And again, like a lot of us have speculated, with Kaylee being the main target, obviously he would take the time to pose in that room. So I get it. I understand the argument, but then at the same time, like I say, it's not a balanced book. He didn't really mention that we know from state documents that they say it is possible that they could have moved that way, but
I mean, I could see somebody moving her to get to Kaylee, and that's how she ended up.
Yeah.
Listen, you got Xana running. He's in the middle of nailing Kaylee's face when Xana
Yeah.
comes in. Like, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not going to take the time to pose.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
in
not
that quick a time frame to commit that crime, you barely have time to commit the crime, let alone clean, pose people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you barely. So the whole posing thing, I can see Maddie being moved to lunge towards Kaylee, and that's how she was left when he had to go after Xana.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, look, when I say that he didn't go
Pose.
into detail about how they could have moved that way. I mean, obviously because he talks about Sutton and Sutton's reports, and Sutton is like the counterpart to Turvey. He does mention these things, but I just think if it is possible that they could have just moved that way, I figure like they would have been able to establish that from the autopsy. Like it seems likely that they were posed because I don't know, it feels like it's quite a lot of movement for afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a chaotic scene. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think I already spoke about the cleanup between the two bedrooms. I think I spoke about it a lot, and he says that it had been wiped away, the blood, if it was present. And we knew as well that there was no evidence to suggest that either Kaylee, Maddie, or Ethan moved from their beds after they were attacked. So when it came out a while ago that there was undiluted blood of Ethan's at the top of the staircase going down to the bottom floor, like that was a big thing. And I'm glad that he brought it up again. It's not new, but like that completely disrupts the state's choreography of this, you know, like
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
the line of travel. It's just not like the only person that we ever thought about having gone down there was Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
So blood was being moved around. But on that point, in the book, he talks about a diluted blood stain or stains. I can't remember if it was one or more, but it was underneath a box of White Claw. So that's also interesting because there's no ways that the killer was gonna like start moving boxes around.
Yeah. Move the ping pong table back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
So
8
yeah,
hours. 8 hours.
exactly.
Who cleans it up with water and a towel or cloth?
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that either. I didn't know that there was a box on top of a stain. So interesting
Kinda
information.
crazy how that happens, you know. Little critters somehow moved it, you know.
Yeah.
Little critters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So chapter 4 and 5, this was a huge couple chapters here that we discussed in the very
Yes.
beginning, and we gave everybody a teaser on the
Yes, we
live
did.
stream a couple days ago about it. So yes, chapters 4 and 5. We just
Yeah, so
discussed the ping pong table. What else?
yeah. So this is where he goes into like a lot of detail about the ping pong table. Like the ping pong table, he talks about it a lot, and I mean I understand why. I do understand why. And it's like in the center of the entire house, and there's honestly no way that it was just like that when you know when all of this commotion as well as cleaning took place. I mean, I don't know how other people clean, but I like move everything. I move it and clean under it and put it back. And so yeah, the ping pong table definitely, I think we can all agree it moved. I wrote here that it moved since DM's earlier photos, but I think that was a mistake. That was Lakeland, who was there earlier in the evening and took some selfies. According to Whitcomb, the table was not really like lined up properly as it was in those photos. So he doesn't feel that it was put back exactly as it should have been. I don't know. Like I think there's like probably something to be said about perspective and all kinds of stuff in photos, but he seems to think it was somewhere different. I'm not sure. But on the point of the table, we knew that Bethany said that she heard the table moving above her. And again, how could it not? Like how could any of this happen without the table moving?
Oh, I'm sure it made a loud noise, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that just brings us back to the floors of the common area being cleaned because they were cleaned. Like there's no way they weren't cleaned. And I mean, those of us who've been following the case from the very, very beginning have just always said like there was cleaning happening.
That's why the door was left open to air it out. That's why the 8 hours. It's stuff that we were saying from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's one reason why the door was left open. Had to make sure the smell of cleaner or water. Who fucking cleans a crime scene with water? My God. Right?
I don't know.
Oh, for sure,
yes.
Betty. Especially, you know, with that half wall there. That's what, to me, that's what made the loudest noise when that table moved. Not the rubber of the legs going across, you know, skidding across the floor. It was when that table slammed up against that half wall. That had to have sent a reverberation through the whole house. You're talking about not a sound that's hitting a floorboard, not a sound that's hitting a wall, a sound that is hitting the literal foundation of that house, especially going downstairs, because that's part of the foundation for downstairs that was renovated. Because remember, when that house was renovated, it just had that front section on. They later renovated it and added that section behind. That's why it had that little jagged edge to it. So it was part of the foundation that reached to the ground level to me, that's why Bethany heard the table. It
Yeah,
had to be
yeah.
loud. Had to be.
And this is already a house where they've said that you can hear everything, so
Yeah.
it would have been like even louder than you would expect. So yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
While being chased, that thing would.
It would have.
Yeah.
That's probably what woke her up. You know, like
Mm,
woke her up out of her daze
mm,
that she had going on. It probably was like, whoa, you know, that's something right there that sends
yeah.
shivers down your spine, makes
Yeah.
you go. It's like smelling salt. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. When it wakes you like in a jolt.
Yeah. It slammed up against that. I can, you know, because
Yeah.
you're Xana running away. You're trying to
Mm,
get the hell in that bedroom to shut the door. You're pushing whatever is in your way out of the way, and the
yeah.
table's included. And then
Yeah.
the person chasing after her too.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I still believe it was more than one person. So just noise. Terrible noise. Okay, so this part is Turvey's debut, right? In comes
Topsy
Turvey.
turvy.
Yeah. So Whitcomb says that he spoke to Turvey. He kind of explains stuff that we've all already spoken about, like regarding the sheath, regarding the posing. So even though it was mentioned before, I think it pretty much just came from Turvey. Like it was Turvey's theory, and it's kind of a theme throughout the whole book. Turvey says that he came to, like, he was brought to the case, he was hired to understand the role of the sheath in the crime. But in the book, he has a different name for sheath, and I forgot what it was, but it was something weird. And I think that's where, when it comes to the letter that Ann Taylor put out and her saying that, you know, he's gone beyond his scope, I think this is kind of what's
Yeah.
being reflected, is that, like, it was just, you were just supposed to, like, analyze the evidence and explain the role of the sheath. That's
Well,
it.
before the case even took place, I'm going to be honest, as much as, you know, I call out the bullshit from law enforcement as much as I praise it.
Mhm.
This dude, before he even came across this case, doesn't. I've always heard him talk about bullshit and never praise. And so that concerns me. You know, you
Yeah.
automatically have it in your, you know, yes, the law enforcement botched the investigation. It's been obvious from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the dude is so overly critical before he even starts. I have to question his judgments. I really do.
Well, yeah. So when we were covering some of his stuff a while ago, I heard him say, and I cannot remember what episode it was, but I heard it. Trust me. I heard him say that he approaches every scene like it's been posed. So that was before these crimes, but it does tell you that, you know, they're talking in the beginning about Officer Nunez and how he's approaching with assumptions and conjecture and stuff like that, and that's bad. But it's bad to do it yourself, right? So, like, I understand you should look at whether the scene might have been posed, but approaching every scene like it's posed, for me, feels like there is like a pre-decided thing, and that might have just been what came up here. Because, like you say, I do think he has a mistrust of law enforcement, and law enforcement, yeah, they messed up badly. Like, a lot of this is their fault, but yeah, like, in
Yeah,
terms of,
it's like if you go into something like when people were digging through Linda Lane footage, they went in there expecting to hear sounds from the crime. And so people were, oh gosh, did you hear that? That had to be so and so. And it's like, until we went out boots on the ground and tested different things, no, it's not traveling all the way to Linda Lane. It was noises from other apartments in what I called a sound bubble. where sound is reverberating off of structures and things like that. The sound from 1122 is not traveling. You're not going to hear people, the words they're saying and all this other stuff. It's not happening. From Xana's window. Now 1112, that's another story, but Linda Lane. So if you're looking to find something before you even start, you're going to get led there, whether the evidence is there or not. And that's what I feel he was doing.
Yeah.
Especially with the posing thing, you know?
So
That's,
I mean,
that's
I
reaching.
agree with you. I'm kind of open to the idea that maybe they were posed, but
I'm open to them being posed, but this guy telling me that they were posed, I'm not down with it because I don't trust him anyway.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like when I was reading the book and I was reading about the situation of the scene being posed, or maybe it was when he was talking about things being staged. It might have been, those are not the same thing, but they're kind of closely connected. That was something that I had in mind the whole time, was like, I do remember him saying something like that he approaches every scene that way. And I think that you'll see what I mean later, but I think when it came to the situation of them being posed and stuff that he started to say afterwards, which I'm sure will come up soon, I felt like that was where he completely lost me. Like maybe I just misunderstood it, but he started commenting on the pictures on Dylan's bedroom wall and somehow comparing it to the posing of Kaylee and Matt. Like I got so confused that I was like, I was like, what? I just stopped.
When you have to continuously put alcohol in a pop bottle while you're doing a podcast, that's no wonder you come up with some of the shit you come up with, because you can't even control yourself for a podcast. And so with the blood patterns, the chain of custody, we've already discussed, I've even discussed like how the chain of custody could not be an issue. It's just based off of somebody with minimal information and their assumption. But with the blood patterns, I mean, to say that there's placement in the blood patterns, it was a chaotic scene. And that's why I think Ann Taylor was saying we didn't hire you to explain blood patterns or tell us what you think about the blood patterns. We hired you for the knife sheath.
Yeah, so when it came to what he was talking about with the sheath, this was one of the areas where, like I've been saying the whole time, like there's stuff I really don't agree with, and this was one of them because I just didn't understand what he was trying to say. So he mentioned that the patterns on the sheath, which I think he might have said was some kind of arterial spray or something, it didn't match the sheet that the sheath was on. So they weren't the same kind of patterns. And he was trying to use that as some kind of an argument for the sheath being placed, which is a problem because the state never said that the sheath was in that exact position while the whole crime was taking place. They just said that it ended up there.
Right.
So it doesn't need to match the sheet it's on. And I think
the statements is what needs to match,
Right. So like the pattern on the sheath and the pattern on the sheet, I don't see why they need to match because we don't know, by the state's version of events, we don't exactly know when it landed there.
Right.
It's not like he put it down and then started committing the crime and it needs to match because, like, by the state's claims, it could have been on his belt, it could have been in his hand, it could have, like, we don't know when it ended up there. So that's something like I don't know if there's something I'm misunderstanding or if I'm just confused.
Well, sometimes you gotta be 5 drinks in before you can understand what.
I wasn't 5 drinks
You
in, though.
you gotta be at the
know.
same sometimes you gotta be at the same level in order for And then, oh, now it makes sense. It's a different dimension, you know. It's a
Okay,
different.
so I read it wrong. I read the book
I'm
wrong.
sorry. I'm just being overly critical. Look,
No.
everybody's got their vices, but damn,
Mm,
when it's
mm,
time to be a professional, it's time to be a professional.
yes.
But that's just me. But
Yeah.
anyway, chapter 6, 7, and 8. Thank you
Okay, so
again for all your hard work, Rosie.
you're welcome. I sort of just lumped these all together because this was one of the chapters these were some of the chapters I was telling you about where I was like, I don't know why. Like, I don't entirely see a point to why these are chapters. So Dylan Mortensen's interviews was its own chapter, which I kind of understand, but there was also not much new. But he did note this bloody jacket and a bracelet in the extra room, the spare room on the bottom floor, and he noted that in chapter 6. So I'm guessing like it has something to do with the situation around Dylan. I know that Dylan was connected to that jacket at some point. He said in the book that the photos of this broken bracelet in the spare room looked like it had blood on it, but I don't think that it was tested. So I know that like a lot of things like dirt or whatever could look like there was blood on it. So obviously it should have been tested, but I don't think that saying there was a bloody bracelet is confirmed yet.
When you can
So
only test one source at a time, you know, you're
right,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
limited on how many sources, you know.
Right, right. And the jacket, like he gets into it later in the book. It's connected to Dylan, but we'd seen that in documents already. Then there was further discussion on the posing. Like it comes up a lot. I know it's important, but it comes up a lot. And then this was a quote from Turvey, or he was paraphrasing, but the words he used were about the wounds were disproportionate, oddly symmetrical, and could not have been caused by one knife when he was speaking about Kaylee and Maddie. So disproportionate, I'm guessing that's again what we know, that it was so much more severe with Kaylee when compared to Maddie. So it was disproportionate. Oddly symmetrical was, I think that it was something to do with wounds on their shoulders, or each left shoulder, and then something to do with their necks, which, as far as I understand, these were post-mortem injuries. So I'm guessing that they were somewhat symbolic.
Well, again, we go back to what Kathy Mabbitt said in the beginning: tears, cuts, disproportionate, oddly symmetrical. You would think it wouldn't have been caused by one knife, but when you're looking at a K-bar, it's got the serrated edges. You can rip, tear with one part of the knife, and you can cut piece of paper with one, and you know, it might look like two weapons.
Yeah.
And then the bashing too, that could look like three, you know?
Yeah. Because I mean, he notes with Kaylee, like there was a lot. I didn't want to put it in the notes, but I mean, there was a lot that we now know about Kaylee. So
the worst, yeah.
Yeah. And okay, what was new for me was I didn't know about the shoulders and throat, those post-mortem wounds. I didn't know about that. To me, it does sound kind of like if they were as symmetrical as he's saying, like it was the exact same on each victim, then I do find that a bit strange. But
you want to make sure they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the one way to make sure they're not living anymore, even if you went overkill?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is a good point. Like that would make sure.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and quick too. Within a few minutes, even if you're walking out, you already know. Yeah, they're probably not going to be savable even if EMS comes.
Yeah. And then this was where he spoke about Dylan's wall picture.
So many things that point me to Dylan.
I just don't know what. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't actually know what he was trying to say. I'm just gonna leave it there. Like, I don't know. Something about the images on her walls, and he was somehow connecting it to the posing. Yeah. Okay, so he notes that Ethan was
The
covered.
princess pose.
Yeah, the princess pose.
I need a picture. I need a picture to see what a princess pose is. You know,
Yeah.
are you holding your skirt out like you praying? You doing one of these little things? Like what are we and then you got a leg hanging off the side of the bed too? Like
Yeah.
what how is this princess pose happening? I
I
need
don't
to
know.
see it. I need
I
to
don't
see
know.
it.
Yeah.
Somebody send me one.
I couldn't make sense of it
For
exactly,
real.
but
With
that's
one
kind of something.
person's leg hanging off the bed, twisted sideways. Like somebody send it to me, please.
Yeah, like that's something I kind of want to do more research on to try and figure out what, because he didn't give it a lot of detail. Like that's all he said, really. Yeah. But we knew about Ethan and that he was covered. I think that was all in documents. He will later talk about how I think he said that Turvey speculated that if somebody just looked down the hall, then it would be exactly how it turned out, that they would just think that Xana was passed out and they wouldn't notice Ethan. Okay, it's another one of those things where I'm not quite sure. I just don't agree. I don't know what he was trying to say. Then the last of these chapters together was Bethany's interviews. Again,
You probably saw the body cams, you know,
yeah.
unredacted, and saw what it would look like from the. Because when they're walking up by the ping pong table, you get a view of the room, but they blacked it out, so we couldn't see the body. But you know,
yeah, and I think he did see the unredacted stuff.
I mean, if the killer did clean up after himself before Dylan got to look down the hallway, you know, just maybe.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
just maybe.
It's hard to think about a killer cleaning up after themselves, but
yeah, when the killing happens across from you and right up above you, you know.
Yeah. That's. I mean that was all. Like that was all that he kind of covered in these few chapters.
And the BF interviews, and Ethan was covered.
Yeah. So Bethany's interviews was kind of its own chapter. One thing that is good, like when it comes to the interviews, is that I believe he's an interviewer. Chris Whitcomb is, so I guess, like I skimmed the interviews, to be honest, because I listened. However, that you just up the speed because we know it, and
right.
Yeah, I ear skimmed it. Oh yes, chapter 9 was pretty interesting, actually. It was the whole timeline of the investigation. And if you have the audiobook, it comes with a PDF version of that so that you don't have to like frantically write down the entire timeline. So much stuff that we knew. The only thing that I didn't know, and maybe you guys did, was that there was a call between Kaylee and Jack before all of those missed calls that went on for 17 minutes. I didn't know that. Did you?
Nope, I didn't know that either. And shout out Blue Devil. Thank you, Princess Pose. I've seen it. Refer to both hands over heart. Yeah, if somebody can send me, let me type this in. Send it to me and let me know if you send it to me. I need to see a picture of this princess pose, because all you have to do is hashtag or exclamation point send info. There's all the places you can send it. Let me know if you send it to me. I'm curious. But yeah, I didn't know about that phone call that they had either. I just heard about the missed calls and how he was supposedly sleeping.
So what's very interesting is that not only did you not know about it, but Jack says he didn't know about it. So there's that, but it's there. It's in the record. There was a 17-minute call. So he says he doesn't remember it, but
Everybody
there.
was sleep talking. Ooh.
Hey, it happens.
Everybody was sleep talking. Oof.
See, we even sing here.
Yeah, little jingles. Sleep talking though. Yeah.
Yeah.
People do it.
17 minutes. Yeah.
People do it.
They do.
It happens. Climbed upstairs. You know, the people made that a big deal. How she climbed up 2 flights of stairs, according
But
to the
there's
censor. But it's at 11 o'clock at night before they even came home. So I never understood what everybody was making the big deal out of her going up 2 flights of stairs.
So
I
I
don't
put
get it.
this in because I didn't even like understand. Like, was it 11 o'clock just before the 911 call? Like, I didn't even see the date on there. But
Oh, I
I
thought it was that night. But
yeah, I'll
is it
double
the
check the
morning?
PDF.
I assumed it was that night too, but
Uh,
maybe it is.
I will let you know and get back to you on that because I have the PDF open.
Maybe it is in
But
the morning, because 5/8, she's obviously up and on social media, making phone calls, sending photos and videos that were deleted
yeah,
after the fact. Maybe it is in the morning, and
yeah, I think it is. But I mean, also, like,
maybe it is.
we've seen the social media activity, so we know that she was awake. So if
Now,
she
if
was
she
awake, she
did
was
go up
moving.
there at 11 in the morning, to me that explains why you had to clean up your shoe print,
Mm,
because you didn't
yeah,
want their blood with your shoe print, because then they would be like, "What'd you do, Dylan?"
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of allegedly there was a lot of preparation for the call. Like a lot went on. I mean, when we just had the PCA, it was like, how could she be asleep? And people were
Yeah,
like, okay, she frozen. She was defrosting,
yeah.
and she was frozen and drank a lot and stuff. But you know, she was also applying for jobs and sending messages and yeah, like
Maybe it has to be in the morning, and that's why they put it in the book.
yeah.
Because,
I'll double check.
but
Hold
that's
on.
definitely. I mean, I've always thought she was suspicious anyway from the beginning. So, if it is in the morning, well, which it probably is
Yeah,
actually. The more that I think about it.
yeah, it says here that the date is 11/13/2022.
Yeah,
So it would have been
yeah,
just before the 911 call.
yeah,
So not
yeah.
good.
Huge issue.
Yeah, but what's new? I mean, like it's good to have confirmation of that. But like I say, we did have all of that social media activity, so we did know.
I mean, it doesn't
Um,
mean that she walked in the door. She could have
mm,
went up to the top of the steps and said something, and who knows?
yeah,
But still,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
still
yeah.
issues.
It's useful information. Is all I'll say. I mean, I didn't know about it. Okay, chapter 10, he talks about hearsay and issues with interpretation. So, like, we know that a lot of that happened in this case, and I think he was just trying to say that there was, like, stuff that maybe one person didn't think, like, one police officer or something wouldn't really regard as important, but somebody else, would think differently about it. I mean, the issues that he brought up, like the hair in both rooms, as being labeled as debris and not being DNA tested, I don't think that anyone in their right mind could not see that as an issue. But for police to be like, no, it was just debris, I don't get it. Like, I don't think that's an interpretation thing.
It's not a good. I think it's a disrespectful term to call it debris.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like a McDonald's wrapper on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it if it is what it seems, then it shows kind of their last efforts to fight back. It's eerie to think about it as just being labeled as debris. Like, how?
Yeah, like the jacket and the bracelet. It's debris. Doesn't need to be tested.
Yeah.
It's just debris.
Yeah. So I think that the jacket was tested and then it was returned to Dylan because there was a mixture of DNA, including Dylan's, but then they couldn't test
Oh yeah,
Dylan's.
yeah. The jacket did have to. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are just some of the things that I think was like overlooked. Like when I say DoorDash's that's just Molly instead of Maddie. So we know that she described somebody in the car whose hair was blonde or red. That wasn't taken seriously. Like, police didn't really follow up on whether the door was open or closed.
And then she claimed that she saw him to try and get out of a ticket. I saw him. I'm supposed to testify. I saw him.
It's stressful and all of that. Yeah, I remember we covered that together as well. Yeah, but I mean, look, I think what he's trying to say in this chapter is like these are all things that just were overlooked or not taken seriously because once they decided on Brian Koberger, in his opinion, everything was about just making that case fit, which I can see. Like, I understand that they did a lot of that. There was a lot of that reverse engineering and stuff. Like, even just with everything, basically,
not testing a whole bunch of other stuff is, like
yeah.
Right
like,
there, you would think you would want to because what if it was more than one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they haven't actually ruled out that it wasn't. Like, that was something that I heard. I think it was on some interview. And somebody was saying, no, but police have said there was no one else involved. They actually haven't even gone that far as to say there definitely wasn't someone else involved. Like, they're not even saying that they know that. So it was really just about getting this case closed for them. I think that's what Whitcomb is trying to say.
Yep, that's all that was important.
That was, I think, pretty clear. So he speaks about how there was never any way to like draw any kind of connection between Koberger and the victims, despite like a lot of people tried. And then from there, he starts talking about victimology and how even though in the beginning of the chapter he said hearsay is not good, the study of victimology kind of involves hearsay in the sense that you have to look into each victim and see what leads you get from that point outward. So yeah, he kind of just explains how they went about the case and how they used victimology to investigate all of these things. Like, they looked at employment and ex-boyfriends and all kinds of things, but it didn't take them anywhere, and eventually they were just fixated on Koberger, is what he was trying to say.
Yeah, we all thought that as well,
Yeah, I think everyone did. See, I jumped ahead of myself.
Oh, you're fine. Whoops. All right. Then we got to chapter 11.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where so I think it's pretty clear, like, most people don't regard Ethan and Xana as possible targets. I don't even think that in terms of the police investigation that they really looked at that much. This chapter has like a huge emphasis on Kaylee. So Whitcomb explains a lot about her background, about her life, her family. He looks into a lot of it. I didn't include it because we knew it. There's literally nothing, like, there's no contribution there. He just compiled it nicely. When it comes to the 17-minute call, I thought, for me at least, that was new information. And when Jack was interviewed by the police, he said he didn't know about that call. So that was new. That was all that was new.
And how they didn't look at him as a person of interest after that. I will never understand, because that right there, well, you don't remember, like, if you fought, you don't remember, "Oh, I have no
Yeah.
idea." You don't press him anymore. And
Yeah.
how did the Goncalves family not question that too?
I don't know because it's
A
not like
jealous-ass ex-boyfriend who left s
mm,
crazy-ass shit on her Instagram posts,
yeah.
flipping out on other dudes when
Yeah.
that's not even your woman anymore. And you have a 17-minute phone call that you don't remember and you can't explain it. To me, that is one of the biggest frickin' red flags ever and should be for a detective, and how they never pursued that anymore doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So when it came to like in the book, they speak about how, the police talk to various people around Kaylee and Jack, and every single person seemed to say that Jack was like a wonderful person and everything was fine. And like I didn't
Shit.
see any report
Shit.
otherwise. So
I saw my own reports.
I know which posts I've also seen those. Or comments but
Commenting like OJ.
mm, yeah, so
Shit he used
that's
to say about Nicole.
like that's literally like from what I could tell in this book, nobody had a single bad thing to say about him. But the call, we always knew that there were like attempted calls, but this was new to me. I think to everyone, like a 17-minute call, that's a long time. That's a long call.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
A lot to talk about.
yeah. When he's going through this victimology stuff, he does say that police did look at Maddie as the target, and that she was the only one who lived in the house the year before, so maybe that's why she was the target. But again, not a lot
And
of
that's another
detail.
thing that was crazy to me. I thought that all of them except for Ethan had lived at that house for multiple years.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
Um,
that's another thing that
yeah,
was crazy to me.
yeah, yeah. So when
So
they
now
did
I
look,
understand how they initially thought
yeah,
that she might have been a possible target because, she was the only one that had lived in the house the year before.
yeah, I understand that, and I get why they would want to look at it. But once having seen the state that Kaylee was in, I don't think it was much of a question. Like unfortunately for the damage that was done, I think obviously you have to look at everything, but I think it was pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So chapter 12, this one is kind of like the first part of him introducing Koberger, like properly. Like he's mentioned him obviously, but here it was like Koberger's own chapter. So, he kind of explains the investigation, and he stresses again that there was no connection to the victims. He tells us a lot of stuff that we knew about Brian Koberger already, like, a PhD student, criminology, the whole thing. And then he goes into the interview with each of his parents were interviewed. I put MAK for Mary Ann Koberger because they're both MK. And he doesn't really give any details about the interview between the police and Brian Koberger's father, but the mother, he gives a lot. Apparently, sometime before he moved, there was a conversation between Brian and his mother about obtaining some kind of a self-defense against bears while he was jogging. And she didn't know anything further on that. She doesn't know if he followed up, if he got that, if he was even interested in a knife. But they did ask her. She did talk about his substance issues. She referred to him as her angel. And she was very insistent, according to Whitcomb, that he did not commit the crime.
Well, most
And
family members, say
yeah,
that.
yeah. So in response to that, the police mentioned the PCA and said, like he's arrested, we need probable cause. Then Whitcomb went into detail about the PCA, which I didn't put in
Yeah,
here
we all
because
dug into that.
I
And
like,
K-Bar to kill a bear.
yeah, to kill a bear.
I mean, it obviously was his sheath, but
Yeah.
was it his hand that put it there? So
Mm,
yeah, he had a K-Bar to kill a bear.
yeah. Yeah. And oh yeah, you guys know this. Like, police spoke with other inmates at, like people who were
Yeah.
with him, and like there's this thing of how he used a lot of soap and he washed his hands a lot. Like, we know.
Yeah.
But that was in there, and then he enjoyed watching the news about the case, about the Idaho 4 case. He only changed the channel if they started talking about his family or friends. I didn't know that. I suppose it is like a kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, because you don't want to sit there because your mind races while you're in prison, because that's all you can do is think. And why would you want to have those thoughts drilled in your head? You're protecting yourself.
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, a lot of this has come out on mainstream media. Round about the time, there were also pictures of him coming out from when he was in there, so
Yeah,
we knew.
videos and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. These chapters I put together as well. We know about the Franks hearing and that interaction between Ann Taylor and Brett Payne.
Yeah, we watched that.
Yeah, and like he kind of described the transcripts and stuff, but again, we know about it. He noted the statement of Molly McMichael, something about a dark vehicle, and he did say that Dylan said that when she was going down to Bethany's room, or when she got down to Bethany's room, she saw a dark SUV. And this was confirmed with footage, and he speaks like at quite length about everything that dark SUV was doing. But I put that in there because I have seen a lot of people talking about it, the fact that Dylan did mention a different vehicle. Because I didn't know that she mentioned a different vehicle. I didn't know that she mentioned a vehicle at all. I thought that she just said she saw the vacuum guy leaving through the kitchen, which
Right.
I don't even know how she would have seen that. So yeah, that's pretty much
And
these couple of
we
chapters.
knew. I heard about the dark SUV in the beginning too.
I didn't.
Yeah, it was discussed. It was discussed as an SUV that I'm trying to remember, because this is a long time ago. This was very beginning. An SUV that was customized, as in specialized rims. It was decked out. It was flashy. It was. I heard it being referred to as like a drug dealer's SUV or something, like a flashy SUV. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I did hear that in the very beginning. So that's interesting to know that they talk
That she
about the
said
dark
that.
SUV. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're interested in the movements of the SUV, he explains it. Yeah. He goes through the autopsy reports. Again, I didn't put any of that in here because we know. We've read the reports. The victimology reports are kind of similar to the ones that he already explained in earlier chapters. And he summed it up quite well when he kind of explained why, for him at least, there was more than one attacker. He said that in terms of Kaylee, there were 3 defensive wounds to her upper extremities, and that kind of indicates that she was surprised. The cast off indicates that the attacker climbed onto the bed and attacked her from right to left. I didn't really know that they had that much detail from the cast off, but he mentions it, and he feels that that also supports the claim of more than one attacker, because he feels that.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
And it supports the claim why Maddie was moved the way she was.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
So
being posed is what I mean.
yeah, yeah, and according to him, he doesn't think that Maddie. I guess he thinks Maddie would have woken up. I've heard that the counterclaim is that she
I don't
was
think
just
so.
too
I don't think so.
intoxicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he feels that there would have needed to be another person to restrain Maddie while this was happening.
No, she probably woke up to die. That's how quick she got killed.
Yeah, because I mean, when you go back to the autopsy reports, I think that it's pretty clear that she would have been quite impaired. So I don't necessarily agree with him. Like, I agree with him that there were probably more than one attackers, but I just don't see that as a good basis for it.
No.
Then when he talks about he talks about Ethan's blood at the top of the stairs going down to the bottom floor, even though Ethan himself did not leave the bed once he was attacked. And this doesn't match the state's explanation of the path of travel of the one perpetrator that Dylan said she saw. But that's like an issue, because that doesn't mean that there's two people. It just means that the path of travel is wrong. Again, I believe there's more than one person, but the fact that Dylan saw him in one particular place doesn't mean he wasn't somewhere else at some point. So again, like, true, I don't think it's a valid argument. I agree about the more than one people, but I wouldn't have tried to say that because it doesn't make sense.
No, I feel you. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, like, we know Ethan didn't move, so somebody moved his blood. This is also interesting. Okay. This is interesting because we've heard about the injuries to the lower extremities of Ethan, and everybody's been like, why would that happen? Why did they do that? Well, like, it's but here it seems like he's suggesting that it was because he woke up and then he pulled his legs back into a defensive posture, and that's why he had injuries to his lower extremities. I've never heard it put that way before, but the reason he's saying it is, again, because he's saying that there had to have been two people because Ethan needed to be restrained while Xana was getting attacked. So I don't know, like if
you got woke up because your calves got slit, why wouldn't you pull your legs up into a defensive position?
Right. But he's not saying it because of anything other than the fact that he needs it to be that he was restrained. He's not saying that it was something to do with
no, but
blood
I am.
splatter. Yeah. But
I am.
But he's using this as a way of supporting that there were two people.
Right.
That's why it needs to be there. He's not saying that it came from the autopsy. He's not saying that it came from anywhere other than it would be convenient because then there would be two people.
Right.
So like, yeah, it's possible, but it's
So it's Howard Bloom assumptions.
Yeah. So, but because of this, he believes they were attacked at the same time, and he also believes that just with the time frame of the barking, Murphy was let back into the house, and that also because Dylan saw somebody leaving, then somebody else must have been there to let Murphy in at the time after Dylan saw somebody. Like, it makes no sense because Dylan, like, they want to attack Dylan as not a credible witness, but then when it is convenient, she saw someone leave, and the fact that Murphy was let back in means that somebody else had to have stayed. She didn't, you know. So they're saying the fact that Murphy was let back in means that there was more than one person. Yeah, maybe. Also an indication
Let the
of
puppy out and let the puppy out while you're committing the crime and clean up with water. It's
yeah.
makes sense. It makes
Well,
sense.
yeah, you've got a lot to do.
It might have been
Um,
3 people. One person had to hold Murphy while it all went down, you know?
Look, yeah, I don't know. I, I don't know. One thing that they say a lot about the scene being cleaned, I can say that I 100% agree with that. So I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm going to be nice about that. Like, yeah, I agree. Good point. Um, and then also that, and I should have put this in the notes earlier, but I think I forgot, is that the bathroom on the bottom floor, so Bethany's bathroom, was weirdly clean. So he's saying like there was no makeup, no toothbrush, no toilet paper, no anything in it. Like he's saying that it was almost too clean. And he feels like that supports a cleanup. I agree. Especially if you look at the path of travel, like at the top of the stairs is the undiluted blood of Ethan. Yeah, okay, so somebody went down there.
Right,
So
right.
I think that's a really good point. I don't think that the residents of that house were the tidiest people.
Not at
So
all.
for the
Not when you see the
yeah.
photos of the
Yeah.
trash and the dishes and all that, you know?
Right. So the way that the bathroom, if it was really so clean that there wasn't even like a toothbrush in there, then I think that's very suspicious.
Of course.
I think that's a good point. And then the front door being seen open. How this supports more than one killer? He says something about Dylan and Bethany not feeling cold, and the door couldn't have been open the whole time because of the heating. I don't actually understand that either. Bearing in mind that I don't come from a country where we have these heating systems, so I'm not even going to comment. I'm saying that it's in there, and that's it. Those are the Rosee notes. Those
Oh,
are
we
them,
got
right?
oh, we got more.
Oh,
There's
we got
still more.
more. Did
Yeah,
I
there's
get
still
them
more.
backwards? Oh, okay. Good. I wrote these and then I forgot. So the fact that the victims were surprised, don't laugh, the fact that the victims were surprised by the attacker also means that there was more than one attacker. I think that's because he keeps saying that one person was restrained, I think. And then this was actually really interesting. I'm surprised I forgot this. So he says that the perpetrators have these signature behaviors, and he's pointing to the fact that there were these post-mortem wounds to the throats and left shoulder of both Kaylee and Maddie, and he explains why that is like a sign of rage. And he like continues to say that Kaylee had to have been the main target, mainly because she had actually left, and it was like a brief return to the property, so it would have been a rare opportunity to get to her. I mean, that's people have been saying that for years. It's a good point. The fact that he went straight to the third floor in search of Kaylee, I suppose.
To me, she's always been the target. So
Yeah, but the fact that he went straight to that floor, that adds more time in if he had to go to Kaylee's room first, because there's no ways he could have possibly known that she was not going to be in her room. So it is a good point.
well, you can by the lights that turn on and off in each bedroom if you're creeping.
Yeah, but I guess that would show how familiar they are.
And
with
plus, the
routine.
dog was heard barking at first, which made somebody think that a roommate was playing with the dog. That's why I think he went into that room first, and the dog noticed him, and then he just quietly went to the next room.
Yeah. I agree completely. I do think that Kaylee was the target.
And just like here, you know, it's like I said when I was first hearing this stuff, the first month or two after it happened about her face and her injuries. And it's like I said back then, that's why I felt she was a target, because the person wanted to destroy her beauty. And
Yes.
um and I really feel like he wanted her to see it. He wanted her to see him destroy her beauty, and he
Yeah.
didn't want her to be beautiful for anybody else ever again. That's why
Yeah.
he did what he did.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're getting at as well when they say like it was
Personal,
really
yeah.
personal. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it is. To do that is, there's no other way to put it, but
That's where the rage came from.
Mhm.
That was what, from the beginning. It's like, yeah, she was a target.
Mm.
That explains the rage.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
personal.
yeah, definitely. So look, I think those were like really good points that he made leading up to that. Um, he does see Madison as a target as well, but not like the main target. So he's saying that she was a target because of her connection to Kaylee, and I think that's a reasonable assumption if you're going to take Kaylee as the main target. Um, the suspect being resentful of the relationship between Kaylee and Maddie, I hadn't actually thought about, but it's an interesting idea. I don't know.
Like a cock blocker.
Yeah, yeah.
A friend that, you know, knows that you're not good for their friend,
Mm-hmm.
and they do
Mm.
everything they can to make sure that their friend avoids you.
Yeah, yeah. And with those two being targets, like Kaylee the main target, Maddie like a secondary target, Xana and Ethan, I guess, like a lot of people say, were collateral damage. So it was just because of, you know, being
Yeah, because
there.
they interrupted what was
Yeah.
taking place. Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, it begs the question of Dylan, like she also saw him. But yeah.
So, yeah. And there's other people, that can be resentful of the relationship as well. You're looking at, you can even, to me, Jack is even more suspicious after this
Mm-hmm.
book, and who would also be resentful of their friendship. Probably the best friend, the girlfriend that she's known her whole life, telling her that Jack isn't good for her as well. Could they
Yeah.
have, could Maddie have possibly been the one to help Jack and Kaylee break up, whether it was introducing Kaylee to other guys or helping Kaylee realize that he's just a jealous ass dude that isn't on Kaylee's level?
Yeah.
She was out of his league.
Yeah. And
She
I don't
was.
think
Let's be
that's.
honest. She was out. I mean, I'm look at them both. She was
Yeah.
definitely out of his league.
Yeah, and with like the best friend being supportive of that, I don't think that's an unusual thing at all. Like,
Mhm.
I can
No.
see the
It's your
resentment as
friend being a
well.
friend. Like, dude, I've
Mm,
known you my whole life too. Like, yeah, you guys were cute together, but now look at what he's doing. He's causing fights. He's
mm-hmm.
jealous. He's, I can imagine. I mean, like I said, I seen those comments he was before everything got shut down. I went and looked at all the Instagram and the TikToks and all that, and I saw the messages he left Kaylee on her posts and stuff, and it was like, damn, bro.
Mm,
Move, like you guys ain't even together. Move the fuck on. And and you're responding to dudes messaging on there, like
yeah,
wild shit, man. I'm like, damn, dude, you are jealous as hell.
yeah,
Jealous as hell. How they
yeah,
never, I don't know, how they never pursue, how the law enforcement or the Goncalves family didn't take this guy being a potential more seriously. Don't get it. Don't get it. You look at
Yeah.
any of these other cases where there's some kind of relationship, and that's who they look at number one. Like automatically, it's always the spouse or the significant other, automatically. And yet you have all of these things right here, and nothing was
Yeah.
pursued more.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't want the connection to be that, wouldn't that be it was a student, just like we heard with this USF double homicide that's going on right now. The students tied, jealousy,
Yeah.
ex-boyfriend, same
Yeah.
kind of thing. Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
Definitely.
So thank you, Betty. Does anybody remember seeing the video of Jack D juggling? I remember they had, again, it was in the very beginning. All of these are on our live streams, and they're still up. I remember we played TikTok videos in the very beginning of the axe party that took place. There was an axe throwing party that took place. I'm trying to remember. It's been so long, maybe a week or two. It was like a week or two maybe before the crime took place. Yeah, we watched, there was some kind of social media videos that people took of that axe throwing party. So yeah, whoever was in it, I don't really remember, but I do remember seeing those videos. So yeah, I don't know how people could do that. I've never gone and done it myself, but to throw an axe and have the blade land on the wood target, that's got to take some practice. I mean, I can't imagine trying to get it to line up like that, but who knows? Never done it. Maybe it's easy being weighted on one side. I don't know. But yeah, I do remember that. So when it comes to this book, what is your conclusion? And I'll go ahead and tell everybody what I kind of let it slip out throughout this program.
Me too.
Yeah. But I will put a stamp on it after what did you come away with after this book?
I don't think it's a bad book. It's okay. It's not, let me say, it's not what I was expecting it to be. When I first started reading it, I was really excited about it, and I thought that it was going to be pretty different to what it was. And I was disappointed in quite a bit of it. But like I said, there was information that we didn't know. There was some stuff that, like the 17-minute call, I was quite taken aback by that. It's good that we know that. But I mean, I have also like pretty much voiced my concerns. Like, there's a lot of Toby in the book, and that's fine. That is fine, but it's not entirely clear what the contribution is. Like, there's a lot of little facts that are a big deal, like the untested hair, stuff like that. But for the most part, we knew it. It's nice to see it in a book. Like, I don't regret getting the book. It's helpful and it's reassuring. Like, if you're somebody who believes that Brian Koberger is innocent, it's like it is nice and reassuring to see that there's like people on his side. That's good. Like, and there's people in his defense who are like passionate about his innocence, even though he's not. But it's like, at the same time, it's just not really what I was expecting. It was not.
I expected more, a hell of a lot more. With how much hoo-ha was going on about it, I expected a lot more. I quickly came to the conclusion it was like a Howard Bloom production. A lot of assumptions, a lot of things being molded, when if you really sit back and think about it, you got to ask questions about what we're being told here, because again, these are people that are getting limited information and then assuming based off of that limited information. And to say that it's one way, I think it's reckless. And
Hmm.
I really feel bad for Ann Taylor, because the Howard Bloom, the Dateline, all of this stuff was coming from the prosecution side. So it was fine if it was as a defense. It's fine if it's coming from, in a way, it's fine because it's not you. And at the same time, it's stuff that could potentially get tossed in the trial upcoming, because of the leaks, right? Um, but when it comes to your own team, when you obviously want to keep some stuff, uh, you want to have some kind of ammunition to go in with. And if you really are trying to pursue another avenue in the future, I really feel like as much hard work and effort as as, as Ann Taylor has put forth for this, I really feel bad that she had people betray her, and she's going to have people betray her even more coming up with Cy Ray and Brent Turvey, of what they're going to be coming out with, and whoever else is going to be coming out with books
Yeah.
with undisclosed information being released. And obviously it's going to be on the defensive side. So I really feel bad. I feel like she got both ends of a shit stick, not only
Hmm.
with what she was given, but with what she had help with and the people that helped her out.
Yeah. Yeah. And um,
And really the one that is affected the most is Brian Koberger when it comes to that path. So um,
yeah.
they're not only
Yeah.
doing a disservice to Ann Taylor and the team and the ethics involved, but also to Brian Koberger.
Yeah. And I think people do discount the difficult position that she was in. Um, I,
I think she
I,
did an amazing job. That's just me, though.
it's like unfortunate that I didn't expect that this book coming out would turn into like a fight within the defense team. Like that,
Yeah.
I was taken aback by that. And when it comes to the book, I think that's part of what makes me just not sure about what's going on here. Like it's the environment of the book where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah. I was thinking about also buying the hard copy, you know, at the beginning of this. And I'm glad that I didn't, because the only time that I would personally buy it is if I just wanted a collection of all the books. And that I I don't know. I don't see what all the hoopla is for. I expected way more. And it was
Yeah.
obvious to me that he was just a messenger for people that didn't want to come out publicly at the time that he was given the information, but they wanted the information to be put out publicly. And so they used each other. He used them to write a book, and they used him to get the information out that they didn't want to put their name on it until he put the name on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I get why they want the information out. Like I get it, but I don't agree with how it's done.
Yeah,
Um,
very unethical.
yeah.
And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in these people. I really am. I'm disappointed. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not the most popular opinion, and it's not what the mainstream YouTubers are saying. But
Yeah, we're here like we disagree with everyone.
it's
So
just
sorry.
and I was thinking you were going to have a little more supportive opinion on the book. I'm shocked that we actually are kind of thinking the same thing. I was thinking you were
I have to
gonna,
admit, I started that way. I was like,
yeah,
from chapter 1 to 3, I think you can even tell from my notes. Chapter 1 to 3, I was like, this is great. And
yeah.
then I started like, I don't know, I'm not sure. So, and look, like I said, I really don't regret getting the book. Like,
No, no,
yeah.
it had some good tidbits in it, but it's kind of like, when you see a trailer for a movie that comes out and you're like, man, this movie looks awesome, and then you go see the movie at the theater
Yeah.
and you're like, damn, all the good parts must have been in the movie trailer.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what the book is. You get the prologue and you're like, damn, this is going to be a good freaking book, and then you read the book and you're like, all the good parts were in the prologue. Like, it was in the trailer. Shit. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Not that there wasn't good parts, but the good parts were far and few between, and but there's stuff we didn't know that we know now, so that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It is. And I mean, it's probably good that he wrote it in a not maybe not how he wrote it, but it is good that there's a movement towards, both sides writing books, because I mean, there's quite a few books in support of the state.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know. Happy Saturday to you too. It's nice to know stuff that we didn't know when it comes to the defensive side, but at the same time, the cost of what we just discussed, that's not the way it should go. So yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for all your hard work again, Rosee. Again, Broken Plea breakdown, Rosee notes, all chapters, and had them showing up there for you guys on the screen. And thank you all for joining. If you're watching it on replay as well, please hit the like. If you're not subscribed, please do. Share this out, help us hit the algorithms, and come back and hang out with us. We should be doing a show tomorrow morning. I think we're going to do live StreamYard calls. We'll be doing something new where we're taking live StreamYard calls one at a time with a time limit, and we want to hear what you guys have to say about the book. What did you think about the book, the stuff in the book? What did you know? What didn't you know until you read the book? Do you feel the same way we do? Do you find a lot of value or little value? Let us know. We'll be back tomorrow morning, roughly around the same time. And I think we're just going to chit-chat about this book some more, and really interested to hear what you guys have to think. But thank you again, Rosee. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you all have a peaceful and positive Saturday. And who knows what'll happen tonight. Hopefully no sinus issues for me. So far, I'm doing okay. I haven't gone outside, and I'm not going to go outside. So hopefully I should be okay today. Tomorrow or Monday, we might see. But I'm going to try and not leave the house until tomorrow, after tomorrow's show. So
good.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Rosee. Anything else you want to bring up or mention?
No, I've been talking the whole time. I'm done.
You need a break. You need some tea. You need some tea.
I do.
Rest the vocal. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. And leave a comment after the show's over. Let us know what you think about this book. Like I said, it's probably not going to be the popular opinion, but it's our opinion, and that's what we wanted to give you today. We're not interested or worried about rolling with the mainstream, whether it's media or social media. We're just going to give it to you how we see it. So thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Stay safe. Later. And thank you again, Rosee. Sub up to Rosee. I'm dropping her link in chat before we get out of here. Make sure you're subbed up to her. Show her some love.
Thank you. Have a